arms to throw. I should know I'll be so good to you. I know I've got a lot to lose. I realize that you are sunlight in my life. I think that I need you to shine by my side. And the nights that I'm not sleeping, I only wanna feel you waiting next to me. And the beats my heart is skipping, maybe 'cause I'm missing what you awaken me. And the nights that I'm not sleeping, I only wanna feel you waiting next to me. And the beats my heart is skipping, maybe 'cause I'm missing what you awaken me.
Hey, welcome back.
All right, so our point leaders for the first week of America's Summit is actually going to go to Chaos, which is Zezas's team here, Evan. Every other team besides the team that Chaos beat, which would be Skit Sons, otherwise led by Absi, suffered a 4-4 tie across the board.
The distribution was actually wild. It was like 2-2.
It was.
They alternated.
It was because if I'm not mistaken, it was Skit Sons was the last game. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Evan. It was. It says right here. It was the last game. It says right here that Skit Sons was in fact the last game. And so it was actually pretty solid end, I will say, to America's Summit. Just the first day.
Yeah, but this next day is going to be even crazier because now the stakes are going to get even crazier because instead of a best of 2, now people are really going to have to show up. We're doing a best of 1, otherwise known as just 1 game per player. So that means the pressure is on for them to perform and get points for their team when they can. Also, we're getting a new item.
That's right, Evan. We're seeing a revamp to the Devilmon tool. So previously in America's Summit, we saw the Angelmon. This year's the Devilmon. So this bad boy right here, Evan, is going to be responsible for allowing a pre-ban feature within challenge mode. Now, obviously, if you played challenge mode before, there's no pre-ban feature. However, with this little guy right here, you're going to be able to see players choosing who they don't want to see picked within the monster box of challenge mode. But over to you.
Oh, thanks, bro. Man, we're giving a lot of work to the editor.
There's nothing in our hand.
All right, check this out. It's back to Jesse. And that's it for your week 1 recap. And we've got week 2 of the Americas Summit for 2026 coming this Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We'll see you there.
That's right. So be there, be square.
so good to you. I know I've got a lot to lose. I realize that you are the sunlight in my life. I think that I need you to shine by my side. And the nights that I'm not sleeping, I only wanna feel you laying next to me. And the beats my heart is skipping, maybe 'cause I'm missing when you awaken me. And the nights that I'm not sleeping, I only wanna feel you laying next to me. And the beats my heart is skipping, maybe 'cause I'm missing when you awaken me.
Hey, welcome back.
All right, so our point leaders for the first week of America's Summit is actually going to go to Chaos, which is Zezas's team here, Evan. Every other team besides the team that Chaos beat, which would be Skitsons, otherwise led by Absi, suffered a 4-4 tie across the board.
The distribution was actually wild. It was like 2-2.
It was.
They alternated.
It was because if I'm not mistaken, it was Skitsons was the last game. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Evan. Yeah, it was. It says right here it was the last game. It says right here that Skitsons was in fact the last game, and so it was actually pretty solid end, I will say, to America's Summit. Just the first day.
Yeah, but this next day is going to be even crazier because now the stakes are going to get even crazier because instead of a best of 2, now people are really going to have to show up. We're doing a best of 1, otherwise known as just 1 game per player. So that means the pressure is on for them to perform and get points for their team when they can. Also, we're getting a new item.
That's right, Evan. We're seeing a revamp to the Devilmon tool. So previously in America's Summit, we saw the Angelmon. This year's the Devilmon. So this bad boy right here, Evan, is going to be responsible for allowing a pre-ban feature within challenge mode. Now, obviously, if you played challenge mode before, there's no pre-ban feature. However, with this little guy right here, you're going to be able to see players choosing who they don't want to see picked within the monster box of challenge mode.
But over to you. Oh, thanks, bro. Man, we're giving a lot of work to the editor.
There's nothing in our hand.
All right, check this out. It's back to Jesse. And that's it for your week 1 recap. And we've got week 2 of the Americas Summit for 2026 coming this Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We'll see you there.
That's right. So be there, be square.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Americas Summit, this time for week 2 of the round robin phase. My name is Evan, and with me at the table, it's Topa V and Sean B. Topa, we'll start with you. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. I'm super stoked to be back for another week of competitive challenge mode RTA.
Me too, man. And it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be different, but we'll get to all that in just a second. First of all, I want to check in to see how Sean's doing over there. How have you been, man?
Absolutely exciting, man. I can't wait to see because we got some new rules today, and Evan's gonna let you guys know the new exciting things that's gonna be happening this week that probably excite all of us, even in the casting table as well.
Dang, Skippy, dude. So much of the tournament, the structure is the same as it was last week. If you were here for the Americas Summit, you know that it's still that first time competitive challenge mode has ever been shown in a tournament format. So we're still doing challenge mode all the way through. However, the stakes have increased because now we're going down to a best of 1 for each matchup. So each time these players match up against each other, they have 1 chance to get a point for their team. That still leaves 4 total games per team matchup, and we have an additional item that these players are going to get to utilize in accordance with their team's wishes as well. So if you're unfamiliar with the way this is playing out, we have 6 teams of 4 players led by recognizable faces and team captains. It's round robin for the first 5 weeks, and of course each of these teams is playing for their slice of a $10,000 prize pool, with first getting the lion's share of $5,000. As we get into this, I want to remind everyone we do have the Devilmon item that these players have access to. The Devilmon allows them to swap matchups. These teams also get to place their teammates in the bracket. That's one of the fun parts about the Americas Summit, is they get to decide the matchups. And now they have another tool to add to their utility belt, the Blue Angelmon. It allows a team to pre-ban 1 monster. Now this ban then applies for both teams, and it stays true through all 4 games. And this does stack. So if 2 teams decide to use both of their Angelmons at the start of a set, then we're going to have 2 monsters pre-banned throughout all 4 games. So that's going to add a lot more diversity to the pick ban phase. It's also going to allow people to trauma ban in a mode where they couldn't do that before. We finally did it, chat. We got pre-ban in challenge mode. Would you look at that? One last thing to keep in mind is that unlike Devilmon, where they get the 3 for the entire season, in this one, they get 1 per day. So all these teams are incentivized to use their Angelmon because it's use it or lose it. Here are today's matchups going forward. So Topa, looking at that, what do you think about that new Angelmon item that allows for the pre-ban before a set?
It's very interesting. Obviously, there's no pre-ban feature in challenge mode normally, but this is, sort of an honor system to get that through, and this is definitely going to facilitate maybe a bit more faster matchups here, right? Obviously, challenge mode is kind of known for those dreaded long bruiser fights. So if players or teams don't want those fights to go on for extended periods of time, they can pre-ban those sustain monsters, the Rileys, the Angelas, the Gandalfs. Those can be gone for all 4 games. And if one team bans a Gandalf, another team bans the Angela, then neither of those monsters can be utilized at all.
Yeah, it's going to hopefully help a lot in terms of, like I said, the team diversity in there. So, Sean, Topa just highlighted a few of those key monsters, right? The Gandalf, etc. What are some of the monsters that, from your side, you're expecting people to target with that pre-ban?
I think because they're also counter to these units, that could potentially be the LD5 free ban, depending on whether they can feel that the enemy has the LD5. Because another thing is in challenge mode, you don't exactly know what the other guy is having. Like, you can kind of know, but does he have the LD5? And then if you waste your pre-ban on the wrong thing, then it's going to be kind of bad. But what if we have a red Angelmon that can force the enemy to pick 1 4-star? Oh, that'd be funny though.
That would be crazy. No, and that's the beauty of the Blue Angelmon, right? Because that inherently it kind of implies that there could down the line be other Angelmon. I'm not saying there necessarily will be, but who knows what the trajectory of the future round robin weeks are going to look like, especially since we just suddenly have a new tool for these players to use. Our first matchup is Team Chaos versus Parceros. Now, carrying on with that conversation, yeah, Topa, so, players could absolutely pre-ban an LT5 if they wanted to take it off the table. There's no guarantee that they'll get that LT5. And of course, there's a lot of mind games going in because you don't know what your team is going to queue into either.
Absolutely. Banning an LD5 would be extremely volatile because your own team could not end up with that LD5 every single time. So you ban out that ragdoll, and all of a sudden, all 4 of your
first pick
players
is
have that
Wallen.
ragdoll. But I think we're getting into the draft phase for the first match here between Parceros and Team Chaos.
Yeah, so chat, you'll recognize this as the portion where all the teams get together and decide who they want to queue up first and who they want fighting whom. This is a big moment for people. So you see they're all in a Zoom call together. And that, again, is probably my favorite part of the Americas Summit. This is a team battle first. So that means all these teams are working together to try to get as many points as possible. And by the end of the round robin phase, that means they're going to be able to either they're going to qualify for the finals, and also these point totals are going to dictate the seeding. So it behooves them to get as many points as humanly possible. And that's why they're all debating about what is optimal here. Do you save your trump card for last? Do you save your best players for last? Do you want them to go forward if they're feeling confident? Or if you have any players that are particularly raring to go, you could get them in there while they're energetic. And it looks like over there, Topa, we got Wallen GTZ starting them off. Over there.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
He said
my
Lord
mic
and
is-
stay hive.
My mic not working?
Yeah, well, and GTZ will be the first player to go from Team Parceros, and
Yes.
sounds like
Yeah.
Zazas just replied there with his first 2 picks.
Uh-huh. That's a really fun team too. Again, we talked about that last time, Sean. It's like Topa highlighted too how high ranked Stay Hive is right now. And now, Sean, we've got Stay Hive and Zazas on the same team. Stay Hive being the first pick in the draft phase for them. It's an unlikely pairing.
But somehow Stay Hive lost last week, right? That was very crazy. It was quite a match I remember from last
Okay.
week. The team that we thought were going to crush the opponent actually
We
was
are
the
two
one
piece right.
losing. So that is the wild thing about challenge mode, is that anyone can win because we have the same box, same runes, same everything.
Dude, what a
Second
great way to
pick.
end the first week too. Varventus versus Stay Hive. That was so
Yes.
exciting, dude. Yeah, so I'm hoping to see more crazy matches like that
Mesa?
today, Topa.
Oh yeah, for sure. That would be insane to see. You know, like as
Mesa.
Sean mentioned, anyone can beat anyone in this mode. So even those mismatches that you see, because you do see your own regular RTA rank in those matchups right there. So you saw Stay Hive is G3, you saw Varventus was C3, but still had a very dominant performance against Stay Hive, who once again is the only player in the top 100 for challenge mode, as there is a separate leaderboard for that mode as well.
Yeah, and it's tough out there. It's very different than regular RTA because, I mean, you know the runes going in, you know the meta. The only thing you don't know is what random assortment of monsters your opponent is going to get. Topa, you likened it to chess last week, and I really liked that.
Yeah, that's obviously, you know, Summoner's War has a lot more RNG elements still, so it's not a full-on game of skill there, or, you know,
chess.
wits. But still, there's, you know, a lot more likeliness to chess, as, you know, you kind of know your openers, and maybe then, you know, the appropriate counters to that,
Chess.
or maybe you don't have those tools available, so still, you know, it's going to be different every single time.
For folks who might be joining us a little bit later here,
Last
I want to remind everybody, in the Americas Summit, we are playing challenge mode all the way through.
Wow.
It's best of one format today. So that means each of these matches, these players have one opportunity to get a point for their team. So it is incumbent on them to lock the heck in and get that point, and also deny the point for their enemy team. There's a new item in play. We've talked about it a couple times, and we'll likely have to reference it again. It's the Angelmon. In fact, we're coming up on the point where people will decide whether or not they want to use it now. It allows them to pre-ban a monster for their set, and that means all 4 games. So that is potentially going to be pretty game-changing, especially when we have such greats as the Water Gandalf and beyond, chat. So stay tuned for some of that as well. And remember, there is money on the line here. These players are playing for a slice of a $10,000 prize pool. So that's it. Now we've got our bracket set here, Sean, and now we are just waiting to hear if they want to pre-ban a monster. If you were in this situation, who would you ban?
Do you have to pre-ban right now, Evan? Or like you can kind of
No,
save
you
it?
do not. You do not have to. However, it's use it or lose it. So it kind of is incentivized.
I see. I wonder what's gonna be the pre-ban. I think a lot of meta evolved in the middle of the tournament last time. Like we see, a bit more Shiho showing up to counter the Water Gojo, and then a little bit more of the other things showed up. So you kind of never really know. But going by last week meta, maybe we might be seeing a Shiho pre-ban.
A Shiho pre-ban could be it. Honestly, so Topa in my mind as well, some of the ones that came up other than some of the big MVPs, like the heavy hitters that we've already kind of chatted about, I was also thinking Hagen could be a good target. Areshion, the Wind Dragon Warrior, could be a good target too if you want to deny a 33 lead and just say we're going full bruise. I don't know. What do you think? Any unexpected picks you got in the back of your head?
Definitely. I mean, there could be a lot of ways that teams want to take it, but I think it's also interesting to highlight that maybe.
Oh, listen to that. We're hearing now the pre-bans are out. So that the Water Werner, the Water Gojo has been eliminated from this set, as well as Diana. So there is no Diana and there is no Water Gojo allowed for the next 4 games. That's okay. That's great. So Sean, those weren't really on my radar. What do you think of those pre-bans?
It's kind of funny that Diana will counter Shiho if Shiho is used against Water Gojo, but then there's no Water Gojo, so Shiho can shine, and then there's no more Diana, and Shiho can shine even further. So I think Shiho just got like a huge buff in this pre-ban set, and that's gonna be exciting to see. So a lot of people in my chat are also asking about the challenge mode thingy. So pretty much you can try this thing in game right now, and you can experience everything that these top pro player will be using on the screen. It's a mode where everyone has the same unit, same runes. It's just in the pool of like 50 monster, you get like 20, the other guy get 20, and you just don't know what you get, and the other guy also don't know what you get until you play one another.
It's true. You get a random assortment of 14 out of the allotment. This is going to make things really interesting, especially because, to Sean's point there, these monsters are really well ruined. Like a lot of them are really, really well ruined, and they have.
I think well ruined is an understatement at this point. It's so good.
Yeah, exactly. And also, when you take into account things like the Water Werner, the Water Gojo that was pre-banned here, HP goes down, attack can go up, defense stays the same, and his defense is crazy. He has high additional damage that he can deal on that skill too, and we actually saw that monster aging incredibly well into the course of the game there, Topa, too.
We definitely did. So I'm not surprised to see that in the pre-ban. And the Diana pre-ban is a bit interesting, as I was alluding while, we got interrupted by that very important intel in our ears, that maybe teams don't really want to utilize the pre-ban in this case too. Because if you're really confident in your play, you might actually be nerfing yourself with this pre-ban, right? Because once again, you do not know what 14 monsters you're getting in that draft phase. So you pre-banning the Diana, that could actually come back to bite you, because it might be only your team that has that Diana available. So I kind of like the Diana ban because it's a pretty high RNG unit. So if you're confident in your playstyles, you probably don't need to utilize that really high RNG unit, right? And then just on the other side, you don't really want to see that Diana go, multiple additional turns and completely wipe out a team.
Like, reprising her role as like just a menace in SWC 2019. Do you remember that? I think we actually saw the infinite turn Diana in the exhibition match from that year, which was crazy. So yeah, it's a good one to pre-ban. And I love what you mentioned about how it's like you could accidentally nerf yourself, in the process of buffing Shiho. Like Sean pointed out, you're nerfing yourself. Because what if you get it? What if you don't get it? It's like, what if it isn't in either of the players' pools? But there's elements of like mind games here. So I definitely see both sides to this argument. I'm really curious to see how this is going to play out now that there are restrictions on what can be taken. Can't help but notice though, Sean, that like they didn't seem to prioritize the same monsters that we had in mind here. So does that make you think that maybe they want to have that option open if it presents itself?
Yeah, I think because those units are just too strong that if you, as Topa mentioned, the moment you ban it, it's over for you as well. And when a unit is too strong, you always kind of want to have it in your back pocket. And that's why I think even in a professional play on SWC, sometimes you see a pre-ban that you thought, why don't you just pre-ban that really broken unit that destroyed you earlier? But now I have first pick. I want to play that too. So it's a lot of things they need to consider for the pre-ban. So maybe they want to pre-ban something that could potentially come out in the last pick. That is something that you just don't have an answer to immediately at the moment because it just appeared. And Diana is usually in the last pick slot where it showed up. You either ban it or you suffer the consequences.
Yeah, especially when there's so many like, high priority like water monsters or, at best, element neutral for her. That's a really good point. To eliminate a counter pick as strong as Diana is pretty huge here. And so Topa, we've touched on it a little bit by this point, but we really saw a sub-meta develop over the course of week 1. We might actually see them tap into it here. So I'll let you guys get into it while you tell people about a little bit what we saw last week.
Absolutely, we're getting the first game here between Valen and Lordo here, and as once again the pre-bans were Diana and Water Gojo or Water Burner. There's no Water Burner on either side, but Lordo does actually have Diana in his box, which he won't be able to utilize, Sean.
Yeah, now let's get this game on the road. And we have the light Huarang and the water Candap getting picked up immediately. Whoa. Oh my god, this is gonna be one hell of a bruiser match. And over there, we also have the Gapso, who's being more popular on actual RTA as well, not just challenge RTA, because the healer meta is so popular that you need somebody to constantly move to keep these healers in check.
Yeah, Gapsu is going to be getting loads of attack bar from all those healers on Lordo's side, and he's picking up even more healers, another Riley and a Chao, but his team is also very durable here. And if you're looking at Valen's box here, he doesn't really have many damage dealer options here. He does have that Ragdoll, but it's mostly just single target coming from Lordo. Ragdoll is still getting picked up here.
I feel like at this point, we're gonna need like a new unit that is like the Fire Assassin, but like Nat 5 version, where she just nerf healing across the board for everybody. Like she just go in and she has an aura. And we have another healer coming out from the other side. That is crazy from Wellens. So I think this Gapsu is definitely going to be banned, and that's gonna suck a whole lot.
This is going to be a very difficult matchup for Wallen. I don't know how you really do enough damage here. It probably might be, yes, the Gapsu's getting banned off that true damage. It is going to be the Horang ban, which is once again on a crit rate build here in the challenge mode. So it's a little bit on the squishier side, but that is now banned out. So all of this very tanky bruiser turn cycling with the Vertihile is being let through, and I think it's going to be a very uphill battle for Wallen here, Sean.
Yep, and here we go. The first game for America Summit Week 2, and remember guys, this time it is best of 1, so you win a points for your team pretty much immediately. So it's very important that every match you play, it's gonna be a W.
Yeah, the RNG factors, or just the volatility has definitely been increased by that as we get in this game. Wallen does cut in here after Gandalf to that speed lead from Xingzhe, the Wind Monkey, and does have the opportunity here to get a defense break into a Ragdoll hit. But the Ragdoll is in a rather tanky build here in challenge mode, so this Chao is definitely not going down, and that shield is not even being broken yet.
Oh, and that's a tough one right there, because I think the the pace that the Vert team have is going to be much better than the Ragdoll team, even though Ragdoll should be boosting bar like crazy, but the Vert can also do the same thing.
Yeah, 40% is a lot more than 10%, so Vertihile, every time it moves on that triple revenge build here, is going to be giving the team 40 attack bar. It is also 100 crit, so the Ragdoll team will be getting that 10% attack bar, but it's not going to be able to keep up here. Especially with Monkey is getting that violent proc, moves out of immunity already. Not that there are any debuffs on Lordo's side.
It's also funny that in real RTA, Vert is kind of picking up some appearance here and there, because the meta has evolved into a bit more passive healer focused kind of team. So the Vert in actual RTA now being built on Vile, so that you can just abuse the slow meta by taking 20,000 turns in between.
Definitely. The AoE meta has faded a little bit more, so Revenge Vertihile is not getting nearly as much value. You see a lot more Swift or Violent Vertihiles on the ladder, but either way, this is going to be a triple Revenge Vertihile here. That's the 1 AoE, and it does get a counter there with a 1 crit, even off element for even more attack bar.
And we can see that the Water Gandalf is getting a lot of turn between as well, because you're kind of forced to hit into that shield, and he's going to get a lot of attack bar for free in there, and he's going to heal the Chao. And the healer on the side, Wallens, is only a villager whose main job is not even a healer. He's a part-time healer. So the Chandra is slowly fading away, and it's just nothing that Wallens can do to stop that.
Yeah, there really isn't much he can do here. He's trying to get as much damage in this Chao, which is definitely the correct targeting here. Trying to get rid of that main damage dealer. Now losing that Belajul skill 2 heal is not that much, and Chao with a S2 is slightly going to take the Chandra. Not quite, but with the violent proc, Chandra leaves the battlefield.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much GG. Even though without defense break, Lotto team is just way tanky in terms of sustain, and there's nothing much that the Ragdoll or the Monkey can do. Even though the Chow is constantly critting, giving the Ragdoll attack bar, but Warren's team is taking turn into absolutely nothingness. He just can't provide the damage into the Chow unless somehow there is a rotation where the Monkey defense breaks and Ragdoll violent procs immediately. But even then, it is still kind of sus because the reflect damage buff actually reduce the damage of the Chow that's gonna take. So Chow technically has half of Ragdoll damage at the moment, all the time.
It really does. That reflect damage buff is definitely a very underrated buff, as we don't see many monsters with that buff in the game. Not with these Gandalfs obviously having that reflect buff, getting a lot of play across challenge mode and regular RTA alike. And it's a 30% straight damage reduction, which is a huge damage mitigation. Not only do you get the shields, but that reflect damage is so huge in keeping your team alive.
And the Melayu is gone. And the Chows, they're looking really healthy. And unfortunately for the Monkey, he's also like a part-time-ish Death Breaker. So there's a cooldown on that. And the Chow has no cooldown in cleansing, unfortunately. When he moves, the defense break is gone. And once again, this might be a very good rotation for the Ragnar to go in. But let's check the damage. Barely enough.
It's barely enough. That is one of the things in challenge mode. Once again, these monsters are runed extremely well, but a lot of those runes or the stats on the runes go towards tankiness. So everything in challenge mode is extremely tanky, and we see the confirmation right there. Lordo is going to be taking the victory over Wallen.
Oh, well done. Lordo getting that 1 point possible here for his team, showing up like that, because it really does make a difference now that it's only down to best of one. It's like now there's a lot more pressure per player. He's laughing here, Topa.
He's laughing his way to the bank with that 1 point, and he had an extremely strong draft there. You know, getting that Horang is always nice. We didn't get to see play, unfortunately, but that Chow, it was never even in danger, really. It got defense broken multiple times by that Xingje there, and hit by the Ragdoll, but never even dropped below half health there, Sean.
Yeah, I feel like he was kind of like, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I picked Water Gandalf, guys, but it's so strong, I had to do it.
Yeah, you can't just leave that untaken. You know, it's gonna just sit there and rot in your picks. No, we got to bring that thing. Now, Sean, you're a Chow hater, right?
Maybe that sounds like a slur right there, Evan.
Dude, Chow stocks are kind of going up in this tournament.
Oh, that is true though. Chow is really strong when there's no real counter to keep him in check. So I think that is one of the big problems. So I think in challenge mode, Chow might be better than Ragdoll, to be honest.
Honestly, yeah. Within this like subsection of the game, I agree with you. Actually, I think Chow might be more poppin'. But you're right that there weren't a whole lot of counters on the other side. Topa. I often find that Chow's one of those monsters where it's like if you think you can handle it in the pick ban phase, you get in the game and then you're like, oh wait a minute, how do I beat this thing?
Yeah, sometimes it happens like that. If Chow is drafted appropriately, that is exactly the response that you should be getting, right? Like you think like, yeah, you know, we have some pushbacks, we have some CC, or well, he cleanses CC. And then also your one counter to Chow is probably going to be your opponent's first target, right? So like that Chandra right there, getting that slow to just eliminate Chow from moving was the first target for Lordo. And after that, he just really, or Wallen didn't really have enough threat to ever take out that Chow.
Yeah. Okay, this next one, we're queuing up into Stay Hive versus Mesa here. So, Topa, what you pointed out as well is that Stay Hive is the only player in this tournament that's actually within the top 100 of challenge mode.
Yeah, he is. So Stay Hive, on paper, seems like the strongest player in the tournament, but we saw how that ended up last week, didn't we, Sean?
Indeed. So on paper doesn't mean much in this tournament anymore. So Stay Hive is going in, and I think the UI is kind of opposite, right? So Stay Hive is locking in, not looking so hard with that very heavy bruiser box and low damage. On the other hand, I think Mesa is looking really good with a lot of damage option right there.
Yeah, Mesa does have a couple of shielding monsters there. Also, Stay Hive does have that Water Gandalf, as well as, you know, once again, Diana is in Stay Hive's box, but that is not going to be able to be utilized. So once again, it is Team Chaos with the only ones that are being affected by that pre-ban.
Really unfortunate. But Stay Hive has the strongest power, the biggest shield of them all, and he has the Water Gandalf Wind Monkey opening. That is one of the most annoying opening in the entire game right now. I dare say we require emergency balance patch if we look at the complaints on the Reddit or on the comment section. But over there, we are seeing dot damage rising up, and we also have the Fire Megumi getting picked up right here for the stun.
Shahad is quite a strong monster in challenge mode. It does do that 7% of his max health as true damage each time, and also provides that heal block, so he can quite comfortably break through the Gandalf shields and, you know, then silence and heal block and get those dots rolling, which gives him more attack bar, so it does get a lot more turn cycling. I do favor Shahad a lot more in this mode over the Wind Monkey, which we've seen do very minimal damage and just not be that much of a threat in a lot of these drafts.
Yeah, I think this Wind Monkey in challenge mode in particular feels more like a 5th pick kind of thing, so that if they are going with cleave or some sort of AoE control, then I think the monkey with a tank build is gonna shine a bit better. But for a first pick carry position like this, that usually doesn't get banned out, he's not really performing a whole lot.
Yeah, it really isn't. And also wasn't really performing a whole lot last week. It's that Kumar, so it's interesting to see once again Stay Hive as our highest ranking player drafting some of these monsters that really have Diana. That is not allowed. I think we have a free match here.
Off the table for Stay Hive. So
that's a yellow card right there, Evan.
Yeah, that might take us into that's going to be a referee call real quick. Is that the Diana's in there, and there it is. That's the pause. So that's going to be the referee stepping in. Honestly, this is to be expected considering that it's a new mechanic for the challenge mode here. You know, it's not something people normally expect up coming in here. I'm not sure how the refs are going to take this one. They might actually see it's like, okay, are we going to re-queue in this one? Are we going to get a new batch of monsters, which could be kind of interesting too, because that means that you mentioned, Topa, that, you know, they had Diana this time. They might actually get it, so that's maybe it gets shuffled into the other one. And that's if they choose to remake the match and or not just ban it out.
Right. There's, you know, obviously this new feature. We do give players a little bit of grace here with that. You know, they only have 4 team monsters to work with to begin with, and then, you know, 1 or 2 of them, or I guess none, might be pre-banned already out. So your options are very limited, and, you know, once that timer runs down, you kind of just forget about that fact, and, you know, you kind of just panic pick that Diana right there, which was a pretty solid pick there, right? So there's a reason that why, you know, as Sean mentioned, those last picks might be the targets in the pre-ban.
Which is great. It shows that the item is working. It was a great last pick. You know, but unfortunately, with the new adoption of a mechanic like this, it's gonna have some growing pains along with it. So bear with us for a second while our refs iron that out. While you guys have a second too, you can use command SWGC in the chat to see if you can match the prerequisites to join in for Guardians Club. Open registration right now. It's got great merch in there, very exclusive merch for the Guardians Club, and you also get to take part in some really fun events down the line. And you can also use command Sky Arena Tactics. It's an upcoming card game designed by Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic the Gathering, and you can pre-follow the Kickstarter so you'll be notified when it launches. So while we have a second, while the refs are deciding how to handle this first offense, you can type some codes into the chat. And also you can look forward to codes down the line. Speaking of codes, now that I brought that word up, you can look forward to that later on in the tournament here too. And so again, now Sean, looking forward ahead here, if you were to use the Angelmon in the future, what monsters would you ban?
I think it's definitely going to be Water Gandalf here. It's just for the sake of everyone's sanity, right? You don't have to deal with that. You don't have to see that. You don't think about using it, so that you are forced to use like another more balanced and normal healer that will not just absolutely demolish everyone's will to fight when you have to fight Water Gandalf, because you shall not pass.
And I think that might be why people are drifting more towards Chow in a lot of these aspects here, Topa, because Justice ignores damage reduction effects.
It definitely does, and so does the Light Horang, right? So that was a very strong first draft from Lordo coming through with 2 units that just ignore all those shields and damage reductions. And yeah, so Chow definitely strong in challenge mode as we get back in this match, and it looks like
like Stay Hive has the Diana again.
So they does have a Diana again, but this is a brand new set of monsters for both players here. So it's going to be interesting to see how they now adapt with these new selections here. And looks like Mesa is timing out there and just first picking his LD5 there in the light Legolas.
You know what? I kind of like that. Force him to actually go with the LD5. We need these players to use the LD5 in their draft, because I think for me personally, half the reason I play these mode is I can play with things I don't have, like the Wind Draken or the Light Legolas, just for the sake of having a bit of fun with it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how much fun you really want to be having in a competitive tournament format when there is over $10,000 in the prize pool. By the way, Stay Hive really liked his first 2 picks, I suppose, as he is still running it back, even with the new box. That is going to be a Water Gandalf and a Xingje once again in the first 2 picks for Stay Hive. And we'll see what Mesa responds to this with, as he's running out of time here once again, and it might just be auto picks again. Is he even present here?
Oh, we got double Speed Lead getting picked up by Meza right here. We got the Vanessa. We got the Water Twin Angel. I think the Twin Angel are picking up a lot of popularity in actual RTA as well. But because right now in RTA, the meta can be very volatile.
Yeah, definitely can, but those are also just the auto picks. You can see those are the first 3 monsters in Meza's box here. So he's literally not even at his computer. And if he doesn't come back here, there's going to be Angela and Riley being drafted as his last 2 picks. And he's looking to just auto, arguably the best player in the tournament here, Sean.
Imagine if he wins. Oh my God, that will be mind-blowing. But here we go, guys. Last 2 picks. Even the captain is shaking his boots right now.
Yeah, it really is, and yeah, it's going to be auto picks all the way through, and interesting to see that the timer actually doesn't get cut in here, and it looks like we have another little delay here.
Looks like it was a DC. Looks like it was a DC. Okay, so just as a heads up here, so just as a heads up here, guys. So what's going to happen here is so for the infraction, the Zezas's team is actually going to lose a point. So because he picked Diana for the infraction, so that's how they're going to proceed. That's the refs have called it. So the point has been lost. So there we go. That's a loss. That's a lost point right there, Topa.
That is a very big deal, but also I feel like this is a very fair, referee call here, as obviously the monster box does shift there. So, if we do give them grace, maybe, you just don't really like your monster box selection, and then all of a sudden, you know what, let me just pick a Diana on accent. Oh no, I picked a Diana, right? Now I get a whole new set of monsters. So,
and you got your whole
really
team to keep you accountable, as well as the referees. So, it's too much. And we got folks in chat calling for bans on LDs. What's up, chat? Good to see y'all today. What's going on? Ultra Death Lord, Leader Prime. What's up, dude? Burgild. But Burgild needs to spend a little time where she's at, dude. Burgild was real good for quite some time. Now, Sean, that means that we might potentially not get to see the Light Legolas getting picked.
That's true. And we have a winner that wasn't even here. That is actually crazy. Meza, who was not even in the drafting table, actually won the match. Pretty crazy. But I'm kind of glad that the Diana situation happened a bit earlier in the tournament. So it will now solidify in every other player's mind that, hey, if I accidentally pick the wrong thing, my team might lose, and that's going to be bad. So I got to be paying attention a little bit.
Yeah, and the refs make them abundantly aware. There's a chat ongoing on the side, and then again, this is a team sport, so their team is there to keep them accountable as well. So that's going to be a lesson for everybody in the future. Stay Hive not having a great streak in the tournament so far, though this one did not come to blows. It stayed in the pick ban phase. Let's see how this one goes. HSZN versus Gab is coming up here, Topa.
Yeah, we have another Brazilian matchup here coming up in H season versus Gab here. Gab did participate last year in the summit as well and did do quite well H season. A newcomer here, but he has been on quite a run on the RTA ladder as well. He's looking to secure his first Guardian 3 finish this season.
Oh my goodness. What is he playing in the regular ladder?
He's playing a lot of Sierra Gianna, which is still a quite strong combination if you can, ban out the Josephina Gandalf combo.
Yeah, dang Skippy, actually. So Sean, what are you running in RTA these days?
Oh, I think for me at this point that I just have a little bit of fun every other day. So I'm the kind of guy that, all right, this week I'm running this, and then next week, all right, I'm kind of bored now. You know what? Let me ruin that weird little thing right there, and let me play around with that.
That's a good
So
way
I
to
think
approach it.
Right now, I'm just like, okay, what a Gandalf. I want to try to throw in a bit of Beth right there. I think there was a moment of bit Rahul in there as well, just for AoE buff block. Because when I search for AoE buff blocker in the game, there just aren't many buff blocker.
No.
And I happen to have an LD5 that does that. So now I throw that in. That's kind of
Wait, yeah, Rahul stocks are on the up and up. Yeah, Trix is one of them too. Trix will do it. He's great for that. I'm actually trying to build up both him and Layla on the side because buff block has gotten more valuable going into this. For folks, again, who might be joining us a little later, there's a new item in play this week that allows these teams to choose and pre-ban a monster before going into this set. On this one, we've got the Water Verner, the Water Gojo pre-banned, as well as Diana. So that means both of those monsters are off limits for both parties going in. And if you accidentally pick it, you got to be extra careful because it could result in a loss of a point. So that's definitely something these players are going to want to be wary of, especially when we see Diana in one of these boxes right here. Guys, Gab versus H season. Here we go. Topa, Sean, take it away.
Yeah, once again, it is Team Chaos with the Dyna in their box. I hope they learn their lesson because that is a pretty painful loss of a point. So all of these matches are just now a best of one. Losing 1 point is a huge deal, Sean.
Indeed. And over there, we have the Wind Dragon Warrior first pick. Somehow Water Gojo, I don't even see that gonna end up in the box for these players whatsoever. So maybe there was a wasted pre-ban, but oh my god, we got the Pader and the Dark Monkey on the other side. I think that is a very deadly combo to have.
It really is, and I really like these matches when there's 2 LDs on each side, right? Because you get between 0 and 2 LDs in challenge mode. I really wish they would up that number, because the LDs, you know, kind of dictate a lot of the times the direction that you can take the draft. And as we see here, Gav doing that too. He's going for a AoE cleave, which is going to be facilitated by that Maximilian as one of his LDs here.
Oh, you know what's the best? The best pick for H season right now is gonna be Diana. But unfortunately for Gab, both his strippers are sort of hard counter by the Pader unit right now. So I think that's gonna be a forced ban right there, which means H season can actually pick whatever he wants.
Yeah, it could be, but also that Megumi is going to be very annoying to fight in an AoE playstyle, especially if your Hagen is getting banned out. That Megumi is going to be cutting in, potentially stunning one of the monsters, and you may have to look for a little bit more survivability here, or, you know, that Water Gandalf, that cleansing, shielding, reflect damaging, annoying monster. But instead, he's going to go for just full-on gas here with the Lamila, more AoEs, and the Tessarian to hopefully oblivion some of those passive on the H season side.
Yeah, I'm liking that draft right there. I think Gap would have maybe thrown in a Triton right there. That could have been pretty good against the Pader. And right now, that last Shizuka pick is also extremely strong because if you don't control her properly, especially when you don't have any increased cooldown time here, then that Shizuka just got up 2 tier on the tier list immediately.
Definitely really interesting to see that the Pole is actually being banned out here. Obviously, Gab does want to take that turn, but he doesn't have any Swift monster on his side, and that Pole is on Swift, so it would be moving first here. As Blade, we have a 33 lead on a Gab, or I mean on a... I believe the graphics are actually wrong there. I believe that is a Gab side that has the 33 speed lead, and he's going to be taking turn on with that. But the Pader will be cutting in and putting immunity up, completely rendering his team useless.
Alright, is he gonna go for it? He is gonna go for the strip, which doesn't really end up into anything useful, but at least it's gonna force that Pader to actually take a turn. 5 Megami doing Fire Megami thing. We start off with a stun, we start off with a bit more debuff, and that Wind's Innocence is gonna start going a bit crazy as well.
It is, and this match almost feels over at this point. Gab did use his one and only AoE buff remover, or buff remove at all, and another violent proc on HE's inside. This is going to confirm the kill on this Maximilian, but maybe even a bit unlucky with violent proc. Had this Tessarian violent proc to Oblivion, the Zenitsu, it would have gone down immediately, but it did not, and now Shizuka is going to be applying all of those debuffs right back, and the immunity will be back on HC's side.
Yeah, this is the very hard thing about challenge mode is that you don't have your usual counter to the usual suspect that you see on the enemy team, and suddenly your brains go negative 50 IQ instantly because you are so limited in the amount of option that you have. So drafting become extremely important in this mode in particular, and especially your flexibility and your ability to react to the enemy draft appropriately is being tested all the way to the max in this mode.
It really is, and sometimes, challenge mode can come down to just who really has the better box here, which is why, I do really like the decision once again that, you pick a bad monster, you just forfeit the match there. By the way, this match also seems to be kind of over. Thessarian does get a Binding Proctor, now does get Oblivion on the Zenitsu there, but with the speed buff, the Zenitsu might even be lapping after utilizing that skill 4, to get 50% attack bar and just move right out the Oblivion.
All right, I think there's really nowhere to go out this for Gab. He is taking that point back for the... Wait, no, he's taking another... No, wait, hold up. Dude, this UI is confusing me a little bit. Gab is on the right side, and his team just won just now. So this time he lost. So H Season just got the point back for his team right there.
Nice. Season continuing to impress us right now, Topa. He's been doing a really good job, and also that the team was a lot more aggressive than we've been used to seeing.
Right, absolutely. That was very well drafted. Well, it was more so a reactive draft coming from H Season to the aggressive draft of Gab right there. And, ultimately it didn't really work out. One of those AoE buff removers got banned out in the Hey Gang, and you just had double immunity sources. Even if the Pater was banned out, there was still a Shizuka after, that Megumi was going to cut in and be annoying. That was going to be very uphill battle for Gab right there.
It's true. I suppose what I mean is it wasn't... Even though Water Gandalf was available and we had the means to really carry that game into the late game, it was more of a good focus on damage than just tank and shields up, weapons offline. It felt like a really fun game to watch. Well done from H Season. Like you said, it was just some RTA 101 there. That was very well done. Yeah, Sean, what'd you think?
I think the moment you see that you have the Hey Gang in your selection, which means the enemy will not have the Hey Gang, and you have the stripper that are being countered by Hey Gang like Chiu and Triton, you should probably try to go for those because they come with more utility than Hey Gang actually provide with his strip, and that could have shut down the pattern a bit better, I think.
Yes, dude, 100%. There are signposts like that in challenge mode. You get signals that certain playstyles are able to be utilized, which is great. Here we go, guys. Mendieta versus Zezos. Heavy hitters coming in here for this one. Take it away, Topa and Sean.
The two captains dueling off in the final battle between these two teams, and Mendieta, don't even tempt it. He's just letting Zezos know that he has both of the pre-banned monsters. So Mendieta actually only has a selection of 12 monsters available for him, but he has some good ones in there. We see the Gandalf, we see Angela, we see the Light Horang, so he might be just fine even with, the pre-bans that are set.
So Mendieta is actually playing this challenge mode on a challenge level because he lost 2 drafts in his exact box, 2 damage dealer as well. So his option of damage dealer are down to like 2 units, and that is just rough. Zezas going in with a lot of bruiser option right there, but he's picking up 3 different damage dealer, letting his healing option down to only 2 slots, one being Gapsu, the other one is probably gonna be potentially Shizuka. We have the Water Twin Angel as well. So the damage dealer that many other pickup is gonna be the Fire Bison, and we have the O'Reilly last pick for more healing.
Yeah, Zeza is opting for a very aggressive draft here, and it is all single target, with the exception of that Shizuka skill 3 right there. But single target is what's typically pretty strong in the Gandalf, right? Because you can only get 20% attack bar per turn. If you're AoEing and there's shields and everyone, Gandalf nearly gets an instant turn with 80% attack bar to this passive. But all just single targets, not only do you break the shields faster, you can just focus that one monster that doesn't then have a shield and, completely negate Gandalf's passive.
And the ban is going to be on to the Chow and the other Chow, the premium Chow, the light Huarang. Mendieta doesn't have any strip. Mimo Zezas has a Shizuka, so that's going to be a bit tough. There's also the Oblivion coming out from the Tessarian to deal with the Vert as well. So Zezas is looking really strong at the moment.
It really is. There are some cleanses on the side of Mendieta, with that Riley also providing immunity, so maybe he can weather the storm of the Shizuka here. Shizuka does have an extremely long cooldown on that skill 3, and the buffs only last for 2 turns.
Oh, triggering the vert immediately. Not sure if that's a good play, but I guess he's trying to force these units to come out of their shield and immunity as quickly as possible so that he can go in and start doing damage as well.
Yeah, and we see that the speed tuning of the challenge mode are coming to a bit of an effect here. The Riley outspeeds the Vertihal in the challenge mode, so Vertihal is now going to be exposed. No immunity on him, and you know, that's going to allow Shizuka's skill 3 to... Well, actually, there's not really any debuffs for Shizuka's skill 3 to put down here yet.
Yep, I think the Shizuka is probably going to wait for the Oblivion to show up so that he can Oblivion his 2 different units. And maybe for the Cardinal... Oh, never mind. No waiting. We're going to drop the immunity immediately because Cardinal skill 3 is also very devastating if he lands his slow and stun.
Yeah, definitely wants that protection up to counter this Cardinal skill 3. And he only really needs a single target Oblivion. Once again, Zazas has a very heavy single target team, so it's perfectly fine just Oblivioning one monster here. It's likely going to be this Vertihal that is the target. Does get the Oblivion and does also break the shield, so Gandalf will not be cleansing that Vertihal. But Riley's skill 3 can cleanse. Which debuff is he going to cleanse though? It's the Oblivion.
Oh my god, he got the Oblivion of the Vert. So the Vert is back on full power here, unfortunately. And that's going to be a long way to go for the Thessarian to reapply that Oblivion while the Vert and his team take another 2 turns.
Yeah, Vertihal engine is back online, getting that attack bar boost, and the Karna with the Violent Proc as well, back into her skill 2, trying to focus down this gap, so keep it down even though it's getting a lot of attack bar from all the healings that are coming out from Mendieta right now.
Oh, and the Vert is ready to go, full health, no debuff whatsoever, and he gets to move one more time while Zazas losing all his immunity slowly while not providing much value with the Shizuka.
Shizuka does get a Violent Proc, however, there, so that skill 3 is coming back, you know, sooner than later here. But still, Karnal is... There are 2 immunities on the side of Zazas, so Karnal still can't really utilize that skill 3. Does get a nice provoke on the Shizuka that is going to prevent her from using that skill to lower cooldown of some monsters.
Once again, the Water Gandalf team looking really strong. It might be true that in this mode, whoever gets Water Gandalf, that team might get the upper hand pretty much immediately. Once again, Vert being controlled by the Thessarian, but the Water Gandalf is about to take a turn together with Riley. Soon will get another skill 3, and that could mean the Oblivion might go away.
Yeah, there is a shield sitting on top of the Vertihal, so Gandalf will be cleansing one of those 2 debuffs. And once again, it is the Oblivion getting cleansed. Mendieta really just winning, you know, I guess at 33%, and now winning that 50-50 right there as well. But also, Zazas Shizuka is proccing a lot. That Shizuka has skill 3 available once again. But Karnal, here is your opportunity. There's 1 immunity still sitting on top of Gapsu. This is definitely where you throw that skill 3 and hope for some stuns and slows.
Does he get it? Does he get it? Oh my god, he got the stun on the Shizuka as well. And he got 2 slow on the enemy team at the same time. Looking really good for Mendieta. And this is the moment where if the Shizuka doesn't Violent Proc, oh, maybe she doesn't have to. The gaps will save her, and the gaps will stun them. Oh my god.
Well, the stuns don't really matter there, because Gandalf is going to cleanse that stun off the Cardinal, and that Gapsu obviously was going to cleanse that Shizuka, so now you kind of have to provoke the Shizuka off element, which is very awkward, but no, opposite just go for that damage. Shizuka does have skill 3 available. It's going to be AoE Oblivion, AoE Provoke, AoE everything. And the defense break actually missed on the Vertihal, which is quite unfortunate, because Thessarian now with attack buff is coming in with big damage. Opposite go for that Cardinal now, but we see once again just how important that reflex damage is. That Thessarian lost a lot of health right there.
Oh, and I guess that debuff range is kind of ended a little bit, and also the Thessarian had to suffer from a slow debuff from the Cardinal earlier, so he could not do his full damage, but now he can, and the Cardinal is gonna go down. Shizuka with that skill 3 right at that moment completely turned the game around for Zazas. He was waiting for that moment his entire match.
Absolutely did, you know, utilizing that skill 3 on the first turn definitely paid off. Get that little bit of protection from that Cardinal, and then Shizuka went on an absolute rampage with Violent Procs, getting back in that skill 3 in no time. And Thessarian with that attack was just doing so much damage and deleting the Cardinal. With the deletion of the Cardinal, you know, once again we see a Gandalf team losing in challenge mode here. The Gandalf really doesn't seem to perform that well on that Swift build here.
Unfortunately, without a Violent Proc for some crazy healing, he's just not going to be healing enough compared to this Gapsu, who is constantly taking turn into 3 healers right in front of him. I think Cardinal skill 2 also soft heals, so that is technically 4 different things that could potentially boost the Gapsu turn, and that provide even more healing than the Gandalf can ever imagine.
There's still a slight chance for Mendieta here. The Vertihal is obviously going to be a big engine, especially with the help of attack buff. He's slowly taking down this Gapsu. Gapsu healing is not, while he's taking a lot of turns, the healing on the passive is not the most overbearing healing. It is only 10% healing. Well, 12% after the max skill sub right there, but still only 12% healing. As the game gets later and that HP drops, that health is going to be vanishing very fast.
Oh, you're right. I think Zayza is now waiting for that moment once again where the enemy doesn't have immunity and he can skill through Shizuka, but that moment is not here just yet, and he's waiting for that. Can he buy enough time before that happens though? We're not too sure.
Yeah, the Shizuka stopped violent proccing here, and once again that skill tree is a very long cooldown, so if you're not getting those additional turns, we're still 2 turns away. So even if violent proc does not have available, Riley also doesn't have immunity now, so now would be a good time to get that skill off, and this is also an opportunity for the Tessarian to maybe come with a skill 2 and just snipe this Vertihal.
But I think before that, the Vertihal is going to snipe somebody here. Vertihal going in, almost finishing the Gapsu, but I'm sure that Riley is going to do that. So without Gapsu, it's going to be a little bit harder for Zayza to keep pace with the healing coming out from Mendieta, and he's going to fall very, very quickly.
Oh, Gandalf S1 is not enough right there, but the Riley still moving in front of it. Interesting to see that Zayzas just goes for a skill 1 to Tessarian. He's really afraid of this reflect damage. The reflect damage is what's actually really carrying here. Now that there's no gaps, there's no healing, the reflect damage is going to be just taking out Zayza's team here.
Oh, he went straight into the Siren. He's trying to get rid of the last damage dealer, but the counter attack together with the Oblivion was definitely gonna be very painful for the Vert. And oh, look at that, the damage though, the damage from the Vert finished off that soul protection.
Yeah, the soul protections of Tessarian still comes back, but now there are debuffs sitting on top of Vertihal. Tessarian, oh my goodness, Tessarian is still alive, but the Vertihal is also still alive. He goes for the shield, doesn't take the kill. Shizuka now has skill 3 available. I think that might be a misplay coming out of Mendieta. Now there are shields, soul protection once again, and I think Mendieta may have just thrown the game with not finishing the kill right there.
Hey man, you never know. That healing also did not work out for the Vert because of the heal block and the, oh my god, the reflect damage killed the Siren, but there's another soul protection sitting on top of him, so he is just fine. And GG, Zayza's won the long game.
Dude, Zayzas, what a great job, man. That was actually a really cool way to end that game, Topa.
Yeah, it was, and there was, yeah, maybe a slight misplay right there, not taking on Tessarian, as, you know, the Shaha is dealing damage based on his HP, and HP went down a lot in that game. I think we were 60% HP down right there, so the Shaha wasn't really doing a whole lot of damage at that point. I think maybe with the reflect damage, your Gandalf, you know, actually would have had the damage. Sure, you would have lost your Vertihal, right? The Vertihal was already low health. It would have gone down. So, like, putting up the shields didn't save the Vertihal anyways. So you could have just traded the Tessarian for the Vertihal, and then maybe, just maybe, your Gandalf reflect damage can take out the rest of Zayza's team when there are no healers.
Yes, yeah. I did also like the way that Zayzas sort of like hedged his bets with the soul protection. He's like, I know that my Tessa's gonna die to a soul protect there, Sean. It was kind of cool to see that plan unfold where he getting his Tessarion to heal inadvertently by dying at convenient times.
Indeed. And this is the first game today, and we got a 3-1. Can I say that? I think that's correct, right? To say that 3-1 against the enemy team coming out from Chaos. And in the last week, we had just draw after draw after draw, but this time we have a proper lead coming out from Chaos right there. And the only loss they had was due to a rule violation that Stay High picked the Diana when the Diana was pre-banned.
Yeah, so it was the handicap right there, you know. It was given the point because they knew what they were about to do to him. So Topa, is this an indication that maybe people are getting more comfortable playing against some of the difficult comps that were wrecking their way through week 1?
Perhaps, as we mentioned, you know, there's that meta evolving within, you know, the weeks of the America Summit here. A lot of players aren't, you know, too keen on challenge mode, but what I think players are keen on is, you know, this code right here.
Yeah, man. Get yourself some energy and some mana, guys. So that way, if you haven't used Amaria's Blessing yet, you could use the Amaria's Luck using that energy or tap it in or save it for tomorrow, whatever you want to do. Summit in Americas 2026 is the code that you can type in if you're on Android. And if you're on iOS, you can just click the link that our lovely mods are going to post in chat relatively soon here. All right, guys, we've got a lot more awesome America's Summit action coming at you after a quick break. We'll see you right back here in just a few minutes. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Americas Summit. This time for week 2 of Round Robin, where Topa, we just finished up our first match.
Yeah, that we did. And Team Chaos extending their lead. They were the only team last week to, not end up with 4 points. Well, or end up with more than 4 points, I should say, because obviously their opponents ended up with 3. But now they're extending their lead to 8 points. So they will actually be at least tied first place after the end of this week.
They're looking great after that performance. And coming up next, we've got Skit's Sons versus Skills Over Bills, led by Daniel Kirioka and Little Jenny, respectively. Yeah, Sean, what have you thought of the game so far? We've had 4 of them thus far.
I think in every single game we had a water Gandalf, except for the game that was not that was not let to happen.
That's right. That's right.
Unfortunately, so I kind of want to see the water Gandalf being pre-banned by the next round to see if it's gonna shake up the draft a little bit.
Me too, which is a great segue to reintroduce people to the new mechanic that's been introduced this week. So these teams have a new item that they can take, that they can make use of, introduced right now on week 2. It's the Angelmon. And if they use it, they can pre-ban a monster that neither team can use. And so we've already seen it used for the Water Gojo, which is the Werner, as well as Diana. Now, unlike its contemporary, the Devilmon, the Angelmon, they get 1 each week, and it's use it or lose it. And it doesn't stack, so they should use it if they want to. It only behooves them. It reduces, admittedly, what they can use in their box, but it also potentially takes away a powerful monster for the other team. Now, before we went on break there, Topa, we were talking about whether or not people had kind of started adapting to those problematic teams that they were having difficulty with last week. What are your thoughts on that so far?
Right, the meta is pretty ever evolving in this challenge mode, as a lot of players, don't really put the hours into challenge mode, right? Like they play regular RTA and prefer that mode over this. So challenge mode is still very unsolved. Like the meta is really unknown in this mode. A lot of people try to utilize those monsters that really work well in ladder, but we've seen like the Water Gandalf not performing so well. We see the Xingzhe also not really doing that well.
Yeah, people have kind of stopped picking him entirely. And to be honest, as much as I love him on ladder, I kind of agree with that, Sean. Jingjae did not do an amazing job last week.
Pac-Man
Yeah,
John
I
was
think
picked
the problem with
first.
Jingjae in the challenge was
Let's
that
go
he's
Emma,
just
right?
too tanky
Okay.
and he just doesn't do enough
Ammo,
damage.
me.
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
on ladder, these Jingjae are absolutely
Let's have Barbentos
crazy
go
with
last
their
again.
skill
Close.
2 and the skill 1
Amodasi,
combination
first
doing
pick.
nearly 30k, 25,000 damage.
Yes.
So I think Jingjae in challenge mode is more of a last pick monster.
Yeah, honestly, that could be the case. It sounds like we just got a little glimpse into the calls that these teams are having, and it from the sound of it, it looks like maybe Varventus might be the last one for Skit Sons again there, Topa.
Yeah, he might be the anchor again, guaranteeing those well, maybe, he might be the strongest player in this mode. Take down, stay high in our first week in a 2-0 fashion, right? Remember, that was still best of 2s back then, but we see here, or see and hear the draft being populated here as, the teams are choosing who they want to go up against who.
By the transitive property, you're right there, Topa. If he takes down the strongest matchup potentially, does that make him the strongest? Who knows? It's really interesting. So Sean, we've chatted about this too, man. It's like there's different skill sets being put on display when it comes to challenge mode. It's more about the mind. It's more about improv, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot about improv because suddenly you know what you need to do, but the tools in your hand are not the tool that you use every day. So it becomes extremely difficult to suddenly make your brain adapt to this sudden 20 monster that you don't even remember the speed tuning of.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it can get tough to recall all of it. Somehow Topa does. I don't know, man. Topa's got that well of knowledge for this mode, dude. How much time did you put into research?
I put a couple hours just looking at the speeds, obviously a lot more after a couple hours playing challenge mode myself. So I've done all the damage mapping of monsters, but obviously you could do that as well, you could know exactly how much a monster does in defense break. I know a little bit about like the fireball, right? It does about 19,000 damage to a lot of these monsters that have minus 22 fire in the artifacts, which is something that we haven't really touched on here today either, is that the artifacts tend to be a lot of minus elemental damage on those. So a lot of these monsters might be, that's another reason why they might be putting, lower damage numbers on the board as to what we're used to seeing.
It ends up looking pretty dramatically different when you're expecting something like Fireball to be doing like large amounts of damage, that 40 something odd percent damage on skill 3, and it comes out looking significantly less. That's not really an artifact substat that people put that much priority into, is it, Topa?
Yeah, it really is. A lot of people favor the additional damage artifacts, and that's arguably something that's lacking on a lot of challenge mode monsters. We see the Water Burner we didn't see Water Burner as it was banned in the first match, but that is one of the monsters that has incredible additional damage. So it's kind of all or nothing on the additional damage in a lot of these monsters. Shiho, same thing, has incredible additional damage, but then some of the monsters like the Dracon Warriors, the Wind one has 0 lines of additional damage on it.
So, Sean, now we're getting to that point again, man. We've got all the matchups locked in, and now we're going to see what these players want to ban, or if they want to ban anything. What are your expectations for this?
Yeah, I want to see some really exciting pre-banning. I hope these team would not repeat the pre-ban that we saw in the previous team. So I don't want to see like Diana and Water Warner getting pre-ban here. We definitely want to see something like a Gapsu and the Water Gandalf pre-ban as well, and that's going to be a bit more exciting for these matchups.
Yeah, Gapsu would be an interesting one. That's a cool little piece of tech. Topa, do you have any expectations for this?
It's probably pretty similar. I still really do expect the teams to be banning out some of those sustained monsters, so Gandalf, Angela, the Riley maybe, or even the Gapsu. Gapsu's a bit different because it's a more offensive.
Oh, we're getting word. We're getting word from the tech room right now. We're hearing what they banned. We know that there's sounds like one team is foregoing Angelmon. And let's see. And Daniel Carioca. Daniel Carioca is banning the Wind Twin Angels. That was hot off the presses. So the Wind Twin Angels is off. So now, Topa, I'm wondering if maybe partially what this is maybe it's a signal that in this week in between, if these teams have done a lot of brainstorming into how they want to approach some of these comps, so they feel confident enough in their strategies that maybe they want to just pre-ban something adjacent that isn't necessarily related to the main problems because they've already workshopped that. What do you think?
Yeah, it could be. It's interesting to see the Wind Twin Angel as the ban, because we didn't see a single Wind Twin Angel in the first, teams facing off right there. In the first 4 games, we didn't see a single Wind Twin Angel being drafted. But it is one of the counters to Water Gandalf. So maybe, Daniel's team is going to be really relying on that Water Gandalf and just banking on the fact that they get the Water Gandalf themselves.
See, that's what I'm thinking it might be. It's like, if you ban out a counter like Sean, that might be a signal that they really want to leverage these high power monsters instead of diversifying away from them.
That's definitely true. And if Water Gandalf make it back to the field, I think Gapsu is still going to be a very prevalent monster to be drafted here because he thrives on enemy healing. And that is something that we kind of need in the next balance patch, maybe, is to have something that just thrive on enemy healing, buffing another Boverk, another Gapsu that getting buff into the meta, sort of.
You said something that I thought was very interesting earlier. You were saying maybe a Nat 5 Lexi would be kind of cool.
Oh, that'd be insane. Like something that would just nerf healing as an aura across the board, and that would be very interesting to see.
Yeah, I really like what you're getting at there. Might be something worth looking into. So here's skills over bills. So again, notably Topa, they actually just decided they don't want to take part in a pre-ban or anything like that. Now that does a couple things, and one of them is it kind of eliminates the possibility of even picking the wrong thing. So you're basically guaranteeing that you're not going to accidentally throw away a point in the pick ban.
Yeah, that's something that I alluded to earlier. I think if you're really confident in your game, you probably don't need a pre-ban, right? Because once again, you're kind of gambling with that pre-ban. You don't know whose team it's gonna, or whose side that monster is gonna land up on. So you don't really want to take that chance. Like, okay, I feel comfortable with, all the tools that are available in the challenge mode, and I want to be able to, leverage all the tools, use all of my options the fullest, and, also maybe just prevent that mistake of accidentally losing an entire match, because that is, once again, there's only 4 matches between these teams, so losing one is a huge deal.
It is. Amadeus versus Pac-Man John is coming up here, and I couldn't help but notice that Skit's Sons was looking really stressed there, Sean. They looked pretty locked in.
Nah, they're just ready. Don't worry.
They're just ready.
They're just ready to go, man. Also, huge shout out to Comtour for having for sponsoring this tournament with the headphones that half these players are using. Is pretty crazy. I was like, wait, that looks familiar. Oh, that's the Artemare headset.
Yeah.
Use code Evan in the item shop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nice call out there, Sean. Yeah, and I use the mouse as well. I use the Artemio mouse at work. That's my work mouse too.
Oh, you
Here
better
we go, guys. Yeah, again, for folks who are
yes.
folks joining late, best of 1. This is a lot more pressure than last week. You don't get to familiarize yourself with what your opponent's risk analysis is, like what their threshold for pressure is. You don't get to work around any of that stuff. You just got to show up and get the point for your team. Let's see if these guys have what it takes. I'm really excited to see how this new team is tackling this stuff because Topa, they probably did a lot of homework in between the week.
Yeah, I would hope they did some homework. There's a lot of homework to be done in challenge mode. You can know the exact speeds, the resistances, the accuracies, even the damages of every single monster's mode. So there's a lot of preparation that could be done going into this.
So hopefully they've got their spreadsheets open on the side. They're chatting. Here we go. Now there's some laughter on the side of Skit Sons. Amadeus versus Pac-Man John. Sean and Topa, take it away, guys.
Dude, it's finally on the right side. I'm so happy I can actually understand what's going on right now. So this time we are seeing the Wind Twin Angel on the side of Amadeus. Ooh, so they kind of just banned one of their unit right off the bat for their drafting. But we can see the Water Gojo back on the field right there. So maybe that's gonna get picked up.
Yeah, that's the exact case, right? It was Skit Sons, Amadeus' team here that chose to ban out that Wind Twin Angels, and now they won't be able to utilize it. But as you mentioned, that Water Burner is once again available, and he is going to be in full force as we saw him make some waves last week in the tournament.
It's kind of funny that we have the Gapsu getting first pick right there. Probably just trying to tell the enemy that I know you have the Water Gandalf. Let's not do that today.
knows that the opposing team has the healers, as you know, he doesn't see that Water Gandalf in his own box. Just taking that Gandalf, a very strong healer option, does also provide that damage. Now pairing up with that Eretion and a Heigang, so going for double AoE buff removers. But looking at Pac-Man John's box here, I don't see any sort of AoE monsters that he would really take a lot of advantage of utilizing those monsters.
Oh, we got a bruiser, but in a different way coming out from Amo right there. Actually leaving the Water Gandalf to last pick, because what is scarier than Water Gandalf first pick is Water Gandalf last pick. Oh, there it is. The last pick getting locked in, especially when you're the most vulnerable to this kind of thing. So both sides have strong shield, they have strong heal, but I think Pac-Man is kind of lacking in damage if you ban out a Diana.
I will see the exact same thing. If that Diana gets banned out, there's not a whole lot of damage. There is attack buff, but nothing really scales too well off of that. And once again, this Eretion is built on 0 additional damage artifacts, so he really does not do any damage. And Ammo on the other side will have healing either way. He will have a Gandalf or an Angela. The Angela is making it through the draft, so he will have some sort of healing to sustain these damage dealers that he has. But interestingly, the Dyna is let through.
Oh, the Dyna is through indeed. The unit that cost Stay Hive the game is now making its first appearance in Pac-Man's team. So less healer, faster game, bigger damage. We like that here.
We do. This game is definitely going to be expedited by those bans right there, but it might come back to bite Ammo here, you know, not banning out that damage dealer.
All right, first one belongs to Erection, and he has the AoE strip going. He is going to drop the AoE strip on the enemy team, and he is going to get a beautiful Despair stun on none other than the Fire unit, who is least likely to be Despair stunned by this unit.
And also getting a full team buff remover right there, also getting that 15% true damage, but that is just going to be healed up by Angela's skill too, so it's not going to be that big of a issue here. But what is going to be an issue is this Capsule actually opted to not use the skill 2 there. That skill 2 would do a lot of damage to a high defense, low HP monster, such as this Gojo, that now gets a violent proc already on turn 1.
Oh, big damage already, but Dinah is drafted, and she can directly counter the Water Gojo here with her own big damage, but she can't transform the turn 1 just yet. Beautiful stun onto the Shahad, stopping him from locking the Dinah down with the 2-turn silence.
Yeah, Pac-Man John wisely reading the attack forms right there, knowing that he cannot transform this Dinah, as the Shahad would have cut it and could have silenced and kept it in that form. Right now, the Despair Stuns are coming through, and the Shahad is not taking any turns. The Werner trying to stun the Dinah to keep some pressure off Ammo's back, but more stuns are raining down.
And Dinah was buffed in the recent balance patch to allow her to dodge without the need to strip any buff, and she managed to land 1 dodge right there. The dodge chance is actually not 100% if I remember correctly. So even with 1 dodge, that increased the chance for Pac-Man to stop the cleanse on that stun, and he got it. The stun is still on the Shahad, and the defense break, and the branding as well. That's a very good combination of debuff for Pac-Man to have on the enemy team.
Yeah, really just stacking all those debuffs right there. Angela only cleansing 2 debuffs for passive, doesn't get a violent proc there. Ammo now has to stun this Dyna, does not get the stun. With a defense break and a branding sitting on top of Shahad, and this Dyna is going to hurt. Can the Cardinal maybe violent proc out of the stun? It would be out of the glancing as well, but does not get the additional turn there. Diana is looking to snipe the Shahad, and I think at this moment, Ammo is probably regretting his ban.
Oh, here we go. Huge damage coming out very, very soon. A defense break and branding. Dyna going in. Huge damage. Even with an unfortunate additional turn right there, that is still more than enough to finish off the Shahad. And she might even send a stun to someone else, but she went for the finishing move instead.
Yeah, Opsi played safe right there, as the Gojo does have skill too, and Angela was moving in front, so had he actually not confirmed the kill right there, Angela would have saved the Shahad, so wise to confirm the kill right there. As we saw, it probably cost him Mendy out of that game 1, so really gotta confirm those kills, and now Ammo is definitely on the back foot. He is getting some decent AoE damage with this Werner in here, but it might not be enough as the Dyna is taking another turn and a lot of damage coming through.
And funny enough, that Kara has not taken a single meaningful turn right there. 1 Despair stun after another skill 1 stun. He is just not moving to stop this Dyna. And Dyna getting another stun onto the Water Gojo. This unit was pre-banned in the previous round for a reason. He That thing is doing so much work. Another despair stun coming out.
Yeah, the despair starts is raining down. As you mentioned, the Cardinal has not been able to do anything the entire game. Either he's been stunned, I think he's actually been stunned the entire time. And now that he's finally getting a turn here, he's still glanced. So landing those debuffs is going to be very difficult. And Diana just opting to go for a shield, just playing Pac-Man John. No, he's so far ahead, not need to take any risks and just playing it super safe here.
Oh, Cardinal's taking his turn, and he did absolutely nothing. Oh my god, another stun coming out from Pac-Man. And we have more damage coming out from the Wind Dragon Warrior as well. Somebody is about to drop. At the moment this will drop, I think there is no coming back. Oh!
What?
Oh, Pac-Man Joe was too excited.
Oh, what?
He was rewarded. He was
Wait,
too
what?
excited, but he was rewarded with a quick little transformation violent proc right there. Wow.
What did he do? He transformed when he didn't have skill 2 available. Then he violent proc to have the skill 2 available, but he didn't use the skill 2. He is just actually styling. He's doing that 360 no scope on ammo right now. He's just getting the style points in because he knows he has won this game.
I think it's just being fair, I know I kind of got a very lucky proc right to save my life. So let me be fair and not hurt you in the process and hurt your emotion instead.
Yeah, hurt the mental instead, doing mental warfare right here. Diana, is she going to transform this time? Maybe even use the skill 2?
I can kill you at this moment, but I'll let you power up first. And he's doing like a Goku moment right there. Kind of crazy.
But there goes Diana with that skill 2
anyway.
now. Just one-shotting the Angela off of the field right there. Diana being able to transform back into pony form. And we see the emotes actually coming from Pac-Man John as well, as ammo is left with just one lonely Cardinal who lands almost nothing even without glancing on it. Wow.
Wow, there you go. Pac-Man John styling on his opponent, though, but dude, that was... He did a trick shot. I don't know how... It was so funny. Oh my god, that was very funny. I couldn't believe he got himself into and then promptly out of that situation with Diana, but he was so firmly in control of that game, Sean. It's like, he could kind of do whatever towards the end.
Actually, that was a beautiful game by Pac-Man John right there. He first in the gap, so forcing the Water Gandalf to be in position where he knows he can actually ban that. And then we also had the Diana doing absolute Diana thing to the enemy. And there was really nothing that the Angela could do. Angela, unfortunately, does not cleanse all debuff on the teammate and only cleanse 2. And just happened to cleanse the dot instead of the defense break. And you're absolutely cooked.
It's super cool. Ammo's in chat. What's up, dude? Oh no. Bro, we're sorry, man. We're sorry about all that. Well played though by John. Definitely Topa, my favorite moment was like the Diana just kind of like spinning, when she didn't have the skill to just transform back after proc.
Definitely interesting Diana plays right there. And
interesting.
I mean, even with that Diana style points right there, I think if the Diana was banned out, I think Ammo does win that match about 99% of the time. So I think that just kind of came down to the pick and ban phase. Or pick and ban with the bans there being, the Riley instead of the Diana. There wouldn't really have been enough damage, and Angela definitely could have sustained everything that Pac-Man John would have thrown out there. But alas, team Little Jenny, skills over builds, does take the first game there.
Yeah, here we go, guys. Daniel Ketioka versus Orkut. We're getting into the next game here in this best of 1 series. Take it away, Topa and Sean.
Oh, we're gonna Water Gojo here once again. But over there, we have the beautiful God Shield combination. Once again, the Wind Twin Angel is on the team that banned the Wind Twin Angel. So they're just playing this thing on hard mode, They're just being cool like that.
Yeah, they really are. And it looks like the no pre-ban strategy for skills over builds is really paying off here, not banning your own monster. Maybe they would have banned out that Diana, right? And if they pre-banned the Diana, they probably would have lost that first game. And once again, they have Diana available on their side. So, you don't want to be taking that chance right there. But as we do get in this game, we are seeing a lot of that Water Burner once again. A lot of damage. And the Gapsu has kind of been the MVP of the day today, Sean.
Yo, that is true. The Gapsu getting drafted right there, completely countering the Velajo in a way because Velajo skill 2 is free attack bar for Gapsu, and Gapsu damage goes right through Velajo. High defense as well. So that is looking really good. We got the Daniel Carioca going in with a lot of bruiser. So I wonder what Ocker is going to do. He has the Kumar, but Kumar was kind of a fraud in the last week, so I don't recommend going that, even though he might seem like a very good option with a strip and the Oblivion into this unit. We have the Shiho getting picked up right there, and that is very, very scary. And last week there is also a Shizuka.
Yeah, there's a couple options. Could also be going for a Bird Hell. There's at least that one AoE from the Chandra, and obviously, just having that extra attack bar in turns. What will also give you attack bar and extra turns is that Ragdoll, as Chandra skill 1 is an auto crit, Thessarian's built in 100 crit, but there's that Oblivion coming from Thessarian, and now a Hey Gang being drafted by Derek Carioca. So kind of a strong team from a few metas ago with this Chandra, Velajo, no Cigar, and maybe no Hey Gang either. Going for a Chow instead.
Oh, that Chow picked up right there to deal with the invincibility of the Shiho to go straight into the damage. But I'm not sure that's going to be enough, though, because I think the Velajo is kind of being hard countered by a couple different units here. And without immunity and protection from the Velajo, Daniel team might not be providing enough sustain against Awkward.
It's interesting to see that Daniel didn't go for that Gandalf at all in the end. Maybe just Gandalf not strong enough against the Gapsu and monsters like, although Gandalf was banned out last time, and now the Angela is being banned out, so a lot of the sustain from Daniel's side is gone, but also the Riley is banned out once again, so the biggest firm sustain is gone. If Daniel can set up a defense break into a Chow skill 2 here, that is going to be a lot of damage, and definitely is win condition here.
Okay, guys, here we go. We have Ragdoll against Chow. Let's see which one is going to come on top. We know that Shield is going to get the first turn. And as Toba mentioned, the Shield is built on very good damage. And we saw 2k per hit on that skill 2 right there. And the Velajo healing, once again, is a part-time healer. He's not focused on healing. So all that damage is going to stuck around for quite some time.
It is, but the Shiho is on a lot of damage, but what is not on is a lot of accuracy. Only 50% accuracy. So we saw the Shiho is missing that stun on the Velajo. So Velajo can get up immunity and that protection against the Shiho skill 2 potentially. And the Velajo even resists the branding right there. Not getting stunned by the Burner Bound proc, but still he's looking very low on health right now. But here comes the setup. Sarian with the defense break and the Oblivion into a huge Joust Justice for 23,000, and already Gapsu is more than half in the grave.
Oh, they're trying to trade their healers right there. Velajo is under a lot of pressure. Gapsu as well, but Velajo might be the first one to fall. Velajo went down to the Water Gojo immediately, but now we have the slow debuff coming out from the Chandra. That could, I mean, it only really worked on the Ragdoll because Gapsu is probably gonna die after this turn. So the Shiho plus the Water Gojo is still looking really strong.
It is Gapsu not quite going down there. Can he proc out of the debuffs? Not that it matters because he still wouldn't be healing. And Chow with a simple skill 1 definitely going to be taking that monster out. So we do trade the healers. And Chow is now the one unit left on the field with healing. So Orchid definitely making the wise decision of going for this Chow first here. That's why I almost would have liked to see Daniel defend that Chow over the Tsarn. The Tsarn is built on revenge. So you almost don't want to be hitting that monster. And Chow just absolutely vanished from the battlefield. Where did he go?
It is a 1-for-1 trade constantly, but Awkward always the one to make the first kill. So Daniel is always trying to play catch up, and at this point the catch up is just getting harder and harder because he cannot trade the Chow with the Ragdoll. Ragdoll was just too tanky, and there was no one that can move to kill the Ragdoll, even though he was slowed down and he's Oblivion at the moment. But the Chandra is now going down soon as well. Not looking good for Daniel at all, because the Thessarian at the end of the trade will have to deal with 2 water units, and by just a lot of physics, that doesn't sound very good for the Thessarian.
It definitely doesn't, especially when your Thessarian cannot remove any buffs. There's going to be a 2-turn immunity, 2-turn invincibility sitting on top of Shiho. So Daniel knows that he is waving. Good game to Orca as Orca takes match 2.
Well played by Orchid for sure. Yeah, honestly, Sean, you put it so eloquently. It's like, Daniel just was playing catch up the whole time. Oh. The music's going so hard there. Yeah, Topa, I really like what Orcut brought to the table. It was very, high damage and great targeting.
Yeah, you definitely have really good targeting right there. Just going straight for that healer, knowing that, Belajul, even though you have the Gapsu that is going to be countering that, your Gapsu is going to be the first target as well. So you really want to be getting rid of that healing as well as the immunity. So how much that Shiho really did, even with that 50% accuracy. It did miss the first stun on the Belajul, but it did get those skill 2 stuns throughout the game on the Thessarian and the Chandra, which don't have resistance. So that lower accuracy is not a problem against those monsters.
Yeah, and it was very well and methodically done, going from one monster to the jumping over to the Chow, which was going to be a problem long term, especially for your Shiho. It was like some RTA 101 there, Sean. Orca just brought the right targeting too.
Pretty much right draft, right targeting, and he was always the one to get the kill first, and then he gave the unit to the enemy and end up winning at the end, because if you're trading 1-for-1 and you're not trading at the same time, the guy who takes the kill first always going to be at the advantage. So we're going into the next round between Sappy and a little Jenny. Can't wait to see what they're going to bring to the table.
Yeah, and a little Jenny being the other team captain. Daniel Carioca losing his match there. Oh, he was the team captain for Skit's Sons, and now a little Jenny for Skills over Bills. Let's see if she can show up for the team here, Topa, because again, in these best of ones, the stakes are a lot higher.
They definitely are, but who really needs to show up is Sappy for Skit's Sons here, as they actually started this week down. They were in the last place in the leaderboard. They're the only team at 3 points, and right now they have not secured a single point this week, so they really need Sappy and then maybe the GOAT Varventus to clutch up here and at least get them 2 points, which are every single point is so influential in this tournament.
Yeah,
Evan.
that's why they put him at the end, Sean. Varventus is going to clutch it up again.
Oh, we have a player change here. I think they bought the other team captain apps to their team now, so a little Jenny team's even stronger at this point.
That's so funny. And Abs is in chat, said, who's that?
Does Abs know about this?
Looks like that might be a surprise, getting referenced by your enemy team. That's awesome. Yeah, look at this. Varventus looking serious. I think he knows that he's the anchor, Topa.
Yeah, he knows, and Sappy also getting locked in here, ready to go as he faces off against the other team's captain, Lil Jen. This might be a message to send as well, you took down our captain, we're going to respond right back and take down your captain.
Yeah, let's see if he's able to do it. A little Jenny being the only team captain in this matchup that's still on the table. Let's see if he has what it takes to take her down. She did great last week. Maybe she can do it again this time. We'll see. We're getting into the pick ban phase, and remember that Angelmon is still in effect. That means the Wind Twin Angels are off the table for both players in this matchup. So whoever side it's on can't be picked. Although we did have Skills over Bills forego the use of their Angelmon. So there's only one, as opposed to 2 monsters that are banned out before we even get into the game. Let's see what they got for us here. Sappy versus a little Jenny here. Topa and Sean, take it away.
Here we go, and so far, as Evan mentioned, Skills over Bills did not use that Angelmon, but it has worked out very well for them as they are up 2-0 in this team fight here. But now we get Sappy into the first pick, and once again, it is his team with the Wind Twin Angels. They have literally just nerfed themselves 3 games in a row, Sean.
That is just actually unbelievable. And that is the fun thing about this rule, where you can pre-ban a monster before you get to see your deck. And RNG just somehow said, nah, it's not today. Dinah, being so strong, is being first pick in Sappy's team, and over there little Jenny have the Water Gandalf and the Fire Megumi. She chose that over 2 of the strongest LD5 in the game at the moment right next to them. That is unreal.
Yeah, that is crazy to see. Sappy, picking up that Dyna that was maybe supposed to be a counter pick, but right now RNG has maybe screwed them over with that Wind Twins being on their team every single time. Maybe it's not going to screw them over with this Dyna pick. And Sappy now going for a AoE playstyle here, going for a Chibu, which we haven't really seen at all, even in week 1, and definitely not today in week 2, as well as that Lamila, but that Gandalf is a pretty huge counter to both of those, Sean.
Yeah, he's going AoE into anti-AoE, so Sappy is trying to really show little Jenny that he can play whatever he wants, though I'm not too sure about that play in particular. Little Jenny going with a Hagen to cover the Chiwu, and then we have the Dark Aragorn picked up. This guy is a monstrosity to deal with.
It really is, and I mean, if you look at little Jenny's box here, that is quite oppressive, overpowered box in challenge mode, if you ask me. There's the Water Gandalf Angela combo, as Sean, you mentioned, probably has the two strongest LDs as well in that Dark Aragorn and the Lycorang, and then you have the Megumi, the Heigang, the perfect two picks to counter this AoE playstyle. So Sappy is going to be really struggling here to get something going. Picks up that Shiho, going for that turn one. Probably has to ban out the Heigang to try and get something going turn one. And then maybe going for that Chao Hail Mary solo, which right now doesn't look too bad as there are no wind monsters besides that Shaha in the last pick.
But the crazy thing about the Dark Aragon is that his entire kit actually helps to counter Chao. He can single target pushback, he can slow that unit, and then he can defense break, which are all the things that Chao have in his Nightmare.
It really is. So this is going to be a very uphill battle for Sappy. I think he has the ban. It's a mandatory ban on the Heigang here. And just trying to control. But no, it is going to be the Dark Aragorn getting banned out, and this is going to be very difficult now to get through a Heigang plus a Gandalf with the constant buffs.
Oh, not only he has the Heigang for the turn one, he has the Heigang for the entire match now, due to the constant buff of the Water Gandalf. So this Diana has to perform overtime, and when she does that, the Fire Megumi is there to say hello as well.
It really is. So this is just a very, very solid drafting from Jenny, but obviously, maybe getting a little bit blessed by the RNG gods here with the monster selection phase as well. Shio getting that turn one off is the fastest monster in challenge mode, but does not connect the stun, which might be good, as the stun would have just been cleansed up by the Heigang passive and giving the whole team attack part. Now only that Shaha is getting attack part, and well, the Megumi from its passive.
So we have the damage focus onto the Diana with a free death break. That is so beneficial for Jenny. And Jenny also have the Shield of Gandalf to deal with the Lamila after this turn. So the game is going a little bit too well for Jenny at the moment.
Yeah, but another interesting note here is that Jenny did go for that 28% speed lead, while Sappy only has a 24% speed lead, which once again actually makes the Gandalf outspeed the Chiwu in this mode, as the Gandalf is built on a swift build. The Chiwu is, I believe, 1 speed faster than the Gandalf, but with that speed leader difference makes all the difference, and this Megumis is having absolute field day here, just strip stunning a water monster right there in the Lamila.
Oh my goodness. The 2 damage dealer of Sappy, it's just not doing anything. Like, they're not even taking a proper turn, and by the time Diana takes his first turn, it's already done. The horse is dead, pretty much. And the next target is going to be Lamila, who's usually very tanky. But unfortunately for Sappy, Shahat is the unit to deal with tanky HP skiller.
It really is, and this Chiwu can't really do a whole lot here. You want to get that buff block out there, but the only unit you can get it out on is that Heigang. As any other monster, you would be removing a buff, and then Heigang passive would be activated. And once again, just kind of goes to show that this Heigang definitely should have been banned out, and you would have had a much stronger turn one. And oh my goodness, I mean, you know what? At this point, you probably could have banned out Heigang and the Aragorn, and you still probably would have lost this Megumi alone.
This Megumi has back-to-back violent proc into a stun on a warrior unit. That is just absolutely unreal. Diana said goodbye on her own terms.
Yeah, Diana didn't want to be a part of this world anymore. Didn't want to leave the world with this Megumi performance. So, she just peaced out right there with that violent proc. And Megumi with another violent proc. How is this real?
The Shio actually overperformed right there with 2 stun with a glancing debuff, so that's not too bad. And Shio just had enough and said, like, Seaball Megumi, like, you're not getting any of that turn.
Yeah, Megumi now put to sleep. He's definitely been working hard enough here. He deserves some rest right there. Shio does connect the stun, even at that 50 accuracy against the 100 rest monster. And the Gandalf, once again, is built on a swift build here, so cannot proc out of that stun. And there are no shields on Jenny's side. But, I mean, Sappy's team is just not lively enough. With that silence now landing on top of the Lamila, she never got a chance to use any skills here. Same for that Diana. Oh my goodness.
The Chiwu saw Megumi and be like, hey, I can do that. Like, he turned on his Sharingan, trying to copy everything, controlling everything on the side of Jenny. But even with that, astounding performance from Chiwu, I still think that Jenny has this one in the bag.
I think so as well. Lamila is only on a 1-turn silence right now. If Lamila procs her, I believe she is living from the... Is she living from those dots? Can she get the proc? Doesn't get the proc anyway, so I guess we'll never know maybe she would have lived those dots, just barely gotten a full-on damage skill 2 right there. But once again, the challenge mode monsters are very tanky, so that skill 2 doesn't even do a whole lot. And even then, it probably would have been over. But right now, no chance for Lamil to move. And that's just more attack bar for Jenny's side. And we'll see the Megumi performance once again. Can we land a Water Monkey?
Oh my god, he actually took a break because he know he has already won the game. I mean, Monkey can actually do a bit more work here. A bit of stun, a bit of damage. But there are still going to be strip coming out from the Shahad. There will be strip coming out from the Hagang at some point. And without Lamila on the field, there's just way less damage than it should be. And Chiwoo right now is now suffering from the dodge from his wind unit.
He is, and I mean, technically there is a chance with Shiho, right? You can get a perfect rotation just with that permanent skill 3. There are 2 buff movers on Jenny's side though, so it's going to be very difficult to keep those buffs and the protection up on Shiho. But it's not an impossibility. If Megumi can combine and proc every turn, stun pushback off element every turn, maybe Shiho can, you know, get a full team stun here and stay permanently protected in this match.
Yeah, maybe if Shiho can clone himself another 2 Shiho on the field, maybe he has a shot. But looking like that Shiho is about to get chopped down by the Shahad right here. And oh, dodge the silence. But does he really have a shot? Really now?
He does not. Let's be real here. Shiho, you know, he's going to get the skill 3. He can't even stun a monster here because he's going to be buff removing. And then the Hagang passive is there once again being very annoying. And Shiho just about... Oh my, he almost just died to the reflect damage right there.
And with the protection, he is buying a bit of time. He's just like watching his own death at the moment. But Hagen said hello, and that might be the end of the protection coming out from the Shiho. And Sappy is gonna go down to Jenny in your area.
Wow. Jenny had... she had a lot going for her. First of all, she put Sappy in between a Hagang and a hard place Topa in the pick ban phase. Like having to choose between the Hagang, the Dark Aragorn, and more. That was pretty tough. And then you couple that with a Megumi that is really trying to win the game for you, and that's a tough game to come back from, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure. That Megumi was working overtime. You know, he took a nap in the match 2 and still came back to work, and you know, just performed extraordinarily well right there. And yeah, Jenny was really you know, just blessed on all angles right there. She got a very good box right there. Sappy was already kind of on the back foot, I feel like. Once again, you know, only Sappy's monster was banned out right there. There was only the Wind Twin that was banned out, so he didn't even have all these options, while Jenny had a plethora with that double LD fight there as well, having 2 of the strongest LDs. That was going to be always just an incredibly difficult matchup.
For real. Sean, was that like the God comp?
No, that was the God RNG at work as well. That Megumi just does not stop.
Yeah,
but we also might be seeing our first 4-0 ever. First clean sweep.
It's so different from last week, because you guys remember last week we kind of had that interesting like mirror situation where, you know, it would be like 2 points on and off and follow the same pattern. This could potentially be a sweep. However, we know that Varventus he's been put at the end of a bracket before, and he's turned out great results. Now, he's really locking in here because this is the most important time for his team, and it's best of 1 today, guys. Here we go. Varventus versus Amante Bandido. Topa and Sean, take it away.
Here we go. Last match between Skid Sons and Skillzor Bills here, and Varventus really needs to come through with a first pick, killing Slasher, the wins the Nitsu here, getting drafted right away, going for that damage that as he did last week as well.
But that's crazy though. Like nobody drafted this guy first, like ever in any strategy. Like he just him for doing that. That's crazy.
He really is, and he really needs to be him. Looking at, you know, the options available on Bandido's side, he has the God Gandalf Angela combo, and then you also have a Ragdoll when you're playing this many monsters in the Killing Slasher, as well as a Dark Monkey, just, you know, because why not? Meanwhile, Varventus LDs are the Legolas, which actually could pair pretty well with the Killing Slasher, right? You get 6 hits with that skill 2 on the Killing Slasher. That is 60% attack bar for Legolas, and then a Patter, you know, if that Dark Monkey does show up, may be able to counter that a little bit.
Oh, Viventus going in with a mid-range approach here. We got a bit of turn 1, a bit of turn 2, but over there, Amanti also has a lot of different options. He has the Dog Monkey and he has the She-Hulk that if you want to pick up right there, it could be a very strong all-monkey business team for him.
It really could be, but what he does not have available is that Wind Twin. Finally, in the last game, game 4, that Wind Twin pre-ban is landing on the side or on the opposing side from whoever banned it, and it won't be available. But, you know, they have the Gandalf anyway, so probably wouldn't pick Wind Twin either way. And we see now the Gandalf Angela prophecy being fulfilled here.
Oh my god, the double shielder into the double monkeys. His team looking really, really strong here. Let's see what Viventus can do. He doesn't have a lot of option. Lamela is off the field. Dons might not work too well due to the cleansing that's happening. Maybe he might have to lock in the light Legolas, just going raw damage into this.
That is definitely an option, but I would have said that I probably personally would have picked these exact 2 monsters myself. The Vertihile, just for the turn cycling, trying to outpace the slow-ish team from a Bandito side and then getting the protection from the Patter. Patter is also built on a pretty high damage set here. It is 100 crit with a crit damage slot 4. So that skill 2 on defense break can do about 26,000 damage.
Wow, he even knows the exact 26,000 number. That's crazy. So here we go. We got a Chow last pick here. Evan is probably shaking his boots seeing the Chow last pick. That's probably going to stay in the match as well.
I definitely would. I don't understand this Chow last pick, if I'm going to be completely honest. We had the first pick, Wind Killing Slasher. I mean, that is like the counter to Chow in this mode. And then we see the Patter with incredible damage on that skill 2 as well. So even if the Killing Slasher is banned out, there's an off chance defense break coming from the Megumi. And then into the Patter could definitely take it out. But it is still being respected. Chow is actually banned out.
But hey, it's Viventus. You never know, right? You cannot question his draft. You cannot understand that. So we have not a whole lot of damage from Viventus, and we have a lot of healing on Amanti. But Viventus does have the attack bar advantage, I think, with a lot of attack bar gaining mechanic over there.
It is also important to note that Viventus is all single target here. With the ban on the Killing Slasher, the only like pseudo AO with that skill too, it is all single targets now on Viventus side. So he can definitely just focus on one monster, not give a whole lot of attack bar, and he can constantly remove the shields with this Megumi. So I do quite like Viventus' position here, as he just needs to focus, this Dark Monkey exactly here. Just go for the Dark Monkey. The Wind Monkey is way too tanky. You just get those defense breaks, remove the shields every time, not giving the Gandalf enough attack bar, and eventually you can get that defense break into a Patter skill 2 for the kill.
Oh, good damage, eat the stun, and he's at a very vulnerable position right there. But the good thing is there is going to be a Riley, there is going to be a Vert, so the defense break is gone, and he's about to get a turn to cleanse himself off the stun as well.
Yeah, Patter obviously doesn't cleanse that stun, so Riley getting that nice 50-50, remove the defense break, and now obviously everything is way too tanky for this low damage Xingjie to really do anything. Does get a stun on the Riley, not that it really matters since the Patter will be outpacing the team anyways, and then cleansing the whole team up. And now we can see the Megumi go and remove those, that does remove the shield there, and could even be getting a stun on the Dark Monkey here.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be one of those games where they take it to like 50% up, because both teams have heavy shielder and cleanser, and even with this Fire Megumi working overtime, removing the buff from the Dark Monkey is getting reapplied as quickly as it was removed.
Yeah, definitely is. We need to take this game a bit longer. Patter doesn't skill incredibly well in the late game. His skill 2 damage is actually based on his max health as opposed to defense like the Tyrannus and Abelio are. But still, with the defense break, the HP is also going to be going down. So, like, proportional, percentage-wise, you're probably still doing about the same damage with the Patter skill 2. And now you might have a chance here with the skill 1 defense break. Actually, all the attack bars are too high for skill 1 to do a whole lot here.
All right, we got the pushback. We didn't get the stun right there, but we're going to shield reapply. We got the Angela moving to the heal and cleanse. They are both trying to find a very small window, especially with Fire Megumi doing only 1 turn defense break. The window is even tighter than usual.
It really is. Viventus wisely staying in the bear form here. He might actually have the opportunity here, as Vertihile is going to boost the entire, or should boost the team in front of Amante Bandito's team. Actually, Gandalf might be able to sneak in there, being on the Swift build and having the speed lead.
It's like both players are trying to squeeze this very thread through a needle, and they're just failing. But like both teams are just doing that, and they're just failing constantly. Nobody can find a window to do absolutely anything. But maybe right here, the Fire Megumi can put a stop to that. But now, they didn't even land an attack break.
Tried right there. You see Varvin to shake his head. Does not get any defense. Obviously, was looking for that defense break in the patter. Big skill 2 damage. But now the patter is actually going to be exposed here. He's without immunity in the bear form. Means he can be stunned up. Riley still has immunity. So Riley can likely protect the team here. Yep, does have skill 2 available. So can protect the team from the Dark Monkey.
Oh, we got a bit of immunity. We got a little bit of shielding as well. We got the Vert moving, but once again, nothing's really happening, right, Topa? And maybe at some point where it's 50% attack up, we're gonna have like a turn with a Dark Monkey defense break into a Wind Monkey crit that could kill something. Could.
It could, and this might be somewhat of a window here. It does use the skill 3, but it's only 2 fire monsters. So having a Wind Monkey follow up on 2 fire monsters is probably not the most ideal situation here. He could be using skill 2 or Wild Blow here. Yeah, just transforming back as he does have the Moonlight's Grey skill 3 available next turn. And see, that is pretty good damage coming out of this pattern. If there was defense break, that is likely one-shotting.
It's kind of funny that even the Gandalf skill 1 did pretty good damage with the Vert right there. But he might risk it for the biscuit. The window is open.
Oh.
He's going in. He's going into that window. He's trying to get it done right there. The Dark Monkey will get a turn, but will he get stopped by the Fire Megumi?
The Fire Megumi does not have skills available. Is it going to be a Jenny Fire Megumi here with getting that Violent proc?
Two unit moving. Oh, no Violent proc today, buddy.
I just denied the opportunity fully by a Wind Monkey. This Wind Monkey is really doing God's work in this game. Oh my god, the crit coming out of the dark. It's alive, but he dies to reflect damage from the shield.
That is wild. The window opened and Amanti said, I'm diving in, baby. He took out the Vert, and that just swing the whole momentum of this match because Varventus was keeping the enemy team in check with the Vert, but now without the Vert, he lost damage, he lost momentum, he lost the attack power gain. He kind of just lost the game right there.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to come back from this. Now it's going to be just exponentially more difficult to set up this window for Varventus here, getting that defense break into the pattern skill 2, but he might actually be getting a chance here now. As Amanta is now focusing the Megumi, so now boosting the Megumi in front of the pattern here might be a slight window here. I think the pattern is just a bit too far behind on the attack part to follow up properly here.
Well, I'm curious, what is the accuracy of this Wind Monkey? It's landing stuff on the Riley like I've never seen before.
I believe the Wind Monkey is actually near max accuracy. I think it's about like 60-something accuracy, and he has accuracy on the artifact. So it's very close, if not max accuracy, which is quite funny to see, as yeah, you don't normally see that in on the ladder. But this Wind Monkey is quite consistent with those stuns, and once again, it gives up damage in order to do that.
Now I understand why he's on crit rate. That allows him to have such accuracy. And the Riley is about to drop that as well. The little bit of healing from Bada might keep her alive for 2 seconds longer, but the moment any wait a minute! I need to shut up because the Riley woke up and decided to take the match a bit further.
Woke up and decided to prolong the inevitable here almost at this point, because I mean, there's the window, right? It's always been Megumi defense break into pattern skill 2, but it's just so difficult to get that off without the vertical. The speed tuning has to be extremely tight for that to come to fruition here, and this Wind Monkey is doing so well here. It stunned this Megumi multiple times. It crit on the vertical that eventually led to his downfall, and this one I'm actually not sure about, but I don't believe the Dark Monkey is built on a crit rate build here in challenge mode, so getting that crit on the vertical to like finish it off at the end was very, very fortunate as well.
And I think that is pretty much it. Unfortunately, Varventus cannot carry his team to victory today. Tuning it down, Amanti still have his great wall of skill over builds over there. Double shielder, very tanky unit. And Pada is not very well known for his damage output at this point.
Yeah, at this point, it is just definitely too little, too late. Oh my goodness. Now you get the defense break. Yeah, it's just too little, too late. Not that it even matters, because it's once again one turn defense break. Would have been cleansed up either way. He's the monkey. Summon the dark clouds. And maybe it is a crit rate monk, because we are seeing a lot of crits coming out of that monkey, so I could be wrong on that. But yeah, Monkey is with the skill to damage double crit on the Birdhouse. Ultimately took it down. That was the engine gone from Barbender's team, and you know, the rest is just slowly following as Amante Bandito's entire team is at full health, like the match just started right there.
Amante Bandito taking his team into the full sweep, securing that last point for his team. Man, Topa, my favorite part about Summit is getting to see the players' reactions with their team. Seeing everybody celebrate when Verd went down was so fun.
Oh, absolutely. I love player cams. It's always such a treat to have player cams on a tournament, especially in a team tournament like this. You know, it's not 1v1. Well, it is 1v1, but you know, you have 3 other players that are cheering for you and, you know, praising every single RNG that you get going your way alongside you, and then, you know, shaking their head, consoling you when the RNG goes bad.
Yeah, it's like you said, dude, it's actually secretly 4v4. You know, it's what it is, right? It's the whole team fighting the entire other team. It's a very fun, very unique format for this. And look at that, guys. It's the first full sweep by a team. We haven't seen this yet. We're on our second week here of round robins. And that was a pretty incredible series of plays from Skills over Bills. Well played to everybody involved. Man, and Sean, on the other half of that too, Varventus, you could see him shake his head as he just gradually started realizing that window you were talking about, that opening was getting way smaller.
Yeah, it was, to me, it was close immediately the moment Vert go down, because that was the unit that enabled pretty much everything that Varventus trying to do right there. And the moment the Vert go down, it is pretty much over. And skill over Bill, look at that, 4 points for skill over Bill, and the first team ever in this tournament to clean sweep the entire enemy team, not giving up a single point. That is beautiful.
And just like that, they tied it up. They're tied for first in the rankings with Chaos for 8 points total. And so now you can see all the remaining teams that are still there. We have yet to see Banana Boys and Good Luck have fun as well. And guys, we still have another matchup to go today as well. So this leaderboard will still shift as the day goes on. We have more games. That was great, Topa. I really did enjoy that one. It went long, but it was really fun watching that exchange.
Yeah, that was really good place there, and you know, very well done to Skills over Bills once again. They denied any points from Skid Sons right there, and that is just going to hurt them so bad as they're still sitting at 3.7.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see how this leaderboard shakes up going forward as we get into our next matchup after this short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you right back here in a second.
you in my arms. Should've never let you go, let you leave. I realize that you are sunlight in my life, and I think that I need you to shine by my side. And the nights that I'm not sleeping, I only wanna feel your weight next to me. And the beats my heart is skipping, maybe 'cause I'm missing what you awaken me. I wanna write you love songs, I know that I've got lost to prove.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back again to the Americas Summit, where we are off to our last matchup of the day in this round-robin format. Now, we get to look forward to seeing Good Luck Have Fun versus Banana Boys, led by True Whale and Apsy. Sean, this is a super fun matchup of teams.
Yeah, and I wonder what they're gonna pre-ban, because the last team pre-banned something different and it went horribly for them. So maybe they will both choose not to pre-ban? Potentially.
I'm wondering. I'm honestly wondering the same thing, dude. Do they choose not to pre-ban anything? And that kind of, like we said, it's got pros and cons, right, Topa?
Yeah, I mean, that worked out extremely well for skills over builds right there. They chose not to pre-ban anything, and well, the results speak for themselves. They took 4 points to 0 over Skid's Son, so maybe it's better to just not pre-ban, not take that chance that you ban out one of your own monsters.
Yeah, because you're sort of trying to hedge your bets. You're hoping for something that's going to be popping up quite often, and you want it to hinder your opponents more than you. And it seemed like, you know, that might not have been the case in that team matchup, but it's tough for them to plan for that. I'm hoping that both of them utilize the Angel Mon. So what do I mean when I say that? If you're joining us late, guys, there's a new item in play today for the Summit. It's called the Blue Angel Mon, and it allows players to pre-ban a monster before they even get into the pick ban phase, which is really cool because that's not traditionally something that we get to see in challenge mode. And it also means that we could potentially see some different pick diversity in the pick ban phase. And well, Sean, we thought it also meant that we got to avoid maybe the Water Gandalf, but we have not. We haven't seen that today.
I will be
Indeed.
first.
So I guess the Water Gandalf is going to be a mainstay for the show.
Penguin King hit me with the Evan-splaining in chat. I gotta explain it somehow, Penguin King. Thank you. Also, the Banana Boys, Topa, they are really like, they are living the banana lifestyle.
Yeah, they really are, and looks like GLHF has duplicated Jeff Boladau in the meantime for their team. So Vinny, it looks like, has been replaced by a duplicate Jeff Boladau this time. But there he is.
The agent codes weren't
Vinny
same.
makes way to the screen as well.
Surprise! It's the substitution jutsu.
Okay.
It's
They
Vinny.
did.
I'll do
behind the
Vinny and then myself.
There was
Dude,
a
there's
re-up
some-
code.
There's some heavy hitters on this team here, and
the
True
Super
Whale once again
Tournament or
joining us
whatever
from
it
the
was?
space station. I love that.
Oh, SMC,
absolutely
or is it?
raring to fight.
No, it was
Topa.
like whatever the
Yeah, Abs
the
putting
Pan
himself
Asia
up
Cup or
first in
whatever.
that
I
first
can't
match,
remember the name of
leading
it. It was
his
like
team
the
as
Japan
team
versus China.
captain, leading the charger today, and Vinny will be taking him on in that first round as we populate today's final two teams facing off these matches here.
That's right. And chat, just to
Like
remind
the
everybody
league.
as well, we're still in a
yeah.
best of one. The stakes are higher this time. There's more pressure on each player
All
to
right,
really perform
Rhino
during their
and
set
Guillermo.
because they have one chance to get a point for their team. And we've already seen how
Good luck,
impactful
Rhino.
that can
Up
be
against T-Dub
for
himself.
people like Skills Over Bills,
Sweet.
where they did a full sweep, all 4 players won, and that accelerated up to them. It accelerated them up to a tying position on the leaderboard. So if Banana Boys or Good Luck Have Fun have that in them, they better bust it out now because they gotta start locking in.
RNG
right here.
box, RNG procs.
Oh, we can
And
hear
nobody
that
has
philosophy
kinda
there,
done
Sean.
the,
RNG and
position
procs. That's
swapping
what he's
yet.
banking on.
Last
That's what he's banking on.
All right, we'll
I
go with
think
Jeff
we have
and
not
then
seen
Garchomp.
a single position swap for the tournament just yet.
Did you
I
make
think
that?
they're happy
team
with the
icon
show that they're giving us.
for Steel Sentinel?
You know, I think these teams, they know
No,
they're
we
giving
had
us
a choice.
content right here. True Whale
Well, I know
versus
we had a
Rhino,
choice.
Apps versus Vinny. These are matches I want to see. This is there's no need. I love this, but I would love for them to use the Angelmon Topa. So looking ahead here, knowing what we know now, are there any monsters that you would now prioritize if you were in these teams' positions?
I think I would prioritize monsters that like really break down a playstyle. What I mean by this is probably a Hey Gang or a Fire Megumi, units like that. Like if you get the chance to like play this AoE playstyle, you don't want to be then just slapping the opponent slaps down a Megumi and a Hey Gang, and then you're like, well, why did I even bother playing AoE playstyle when the opponent has those monsters available? So I like to see some of these monsters that like really just hard counter a specific playstyle, and then just kind of roll the dice and hope that you get that playstyle that is hard countered by those monsters.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, that's what I'm talking about. I'd like to see Hey Gang in the pre-ban. That is something I want to see. If I was in these players' position, I would use my Angelmon to pre-ban a Hey Gang. Sean, what about you, dude?
I think it's definitely going to be the Water Gandalf here, because if there's something that hard counter every playstyle, it's probably the Water Gandalf in this tournament. Because even when you go single target, you might think, oh, he's only getting 20%. It is still 20%. Like he is still moving constantly and getting rid of the debuff, healing the team, and it's just a huge pain to deal with.
And if you pair that with just any other source of shield, then he's getting bar all the time. Now, I'm happy to report that we are seeing Water Gandalf is banned. Water Gandalf cannot be picked for the next 4 games. We saw both teams select it. There you go. And so, Sean, look at that. Congratulations, man.
We should declare today a national holiday with the Water Gandalf being banned by both teams. Incredible.
Yeah, so that's going to give people a lot of flexibility, Toba.
Yeah, that is, yeah. As Ron mentioned, yeah, Water Gandalf does counter a lot of playstyles, right? Especially in challenge mode, right? When you don't have, there's no tricks now. There used to be a tricks in challenge mode. There's no like buff blocking monsters other than Chiwu skill too, but we saw just how well that went for Sappy, in that match, like using Chiwu. One of the only people that have like used Chiwu throughout the entire tournament. Just not really enough. So there's no Fire Legolas, right? That's been used a lot in the ladder. So in the ladder, people have like kind of started to figure out Water Gandalf, but in challenge mode, he is still definitely a beast, even on that Swift set.
It's tough, man. We saw it today. We saw Tessarion looking down the barrel of a loaded Water Gandalf, and that was really bad for him. He didn't have the strip available to remove specifically the reflect damage buff, which was the hardest part because it almost knocked him out. In fact, I think it was Zazos that had to plan around that. I think it was that game.
Tails never
Penguin
fails.
King's killing me in the chat right now. Thank you, Penguin King. Yeah, and there's a look at the Banana Boys versus Good Luck, Have Fun. These players are about to show down in the last matchup of the day, and they won't have to worry about one of the biggest thorns in all these players' sides now that they've utilized the Angelmon, because again, they are incentivized to use it if they want to, because it's use it or lose it, chat. The Angelmons do not carry over across weeks. So Vinny versus Apps. This is going to be a fun one, Tofa.
Oh yeah, this is our 2 like English-speaking captain teams facing off. So maybe they even had some sort of gentleman's agreement right there, Let's just have a Water Gandalf-less match, right? Like both teams, well, by chance, I suppose, banned out the Water Gandalf right there. So maybe they're thinking on the same wavelength here. Just don't really want to deal with that nuisance, and we'll have it's definitely going to be changing up the meta in the challenge mode here, not having to see that Water Gandalf in these games.
Yeah, it might give them the opportunity to play a little faster, be a little bit more aggressive. Sean, what do you think?
But there is going to be the free-to-play, and not free-to-play, the budget Water Gandalf, the win pudding is still on the field, and we also Diana to combo with that as well for Abzi. So let's see if he's going to pick that up.
All right, here we go. Vinny versus Apps. Guys, take it away.
Vinny is the one going to be penalized by this Water Gandalf ban here, as he has it available in his box, but obviously not able to utilize that monster. But what he does have available is arguably the strongest combo in G3 RTA right now, is that Erechion with the Solvarg, usually paired with an Escher that he doesn't have available this time, unfortunately. And Apps going for my MVP of the day, that Dark Gapsu, Dark Fat Man.
All right, we got the counter to the AoE playstyle. We got the Fire Megumi and something that can't be pushed back. The Water Gojo against Vinny, looking like a very appropriate counter draft coming out from Apps. So Vinny does have the Maximilian into a Vert or Lamela to tunnel straight into more damage here, but he's gonna go with a Hagang in this draft. I don't really like the Hagang in this position though, because he's not exactly countering too much, and he kind of leaves your team with less damage overall.
Yeah, this once again, you mentioned this earlier. You actually know, Vinny, you have the Hagang yourself, so you're not worried about fighting the Hagang. But you also have a Triton and an Achivo available, so you probably would have been better off picking one of those other AoE buff removers. He does pick up the Hagang though, as it does protect him against this Megumi turn 1, right? Like, at least Megumi cannot be stunning anything turn 1, but you're not really getting a whole lot of value, like sustained value throughout the match from this Hagang. The passive does give you a little bit of attack bar, and interesting that Apps now going for a Fire Pole and a Diana, really just trying to counter that AoE playstyle. Also going for the Swift unit in the Fire Pole, knowing that it will outspeed Vinny's team, and opting just forego his LD options here.
Oh, and he's locked in that heavy damage output unit, Lamila, but there is a Diana over there, and potentially the Fire Paw is going to outspeed Vinny's team. That will potentially one-shot the Maximilian, would have the Gapsu as well. So Abzi counterplay to Vinny is looking very appropriate and good at the moment.
Yeah, I think if you're Vinny, you probably have to ban out that Fire Paw here. And an App's position, I think you probably still... You may want to ban out the Hagang here, or you could ban out one of the sources of damage. And yeah, Hagang is the ban out here, but the pole is not banned out. I believe that even without a speed lead, the pole will outspeed here. I'm not 100% sure on this, but 33% speed lead on Vinny's side. We'll see who takes the turn 1 here.
Oh, Topa did not do the homework far enough into this one. He forgot to account for this exact variability. But the pole still outspeed, as Topa mentioned. And the Maxi completely got destroyed by the combination of damage into a violent proc. A stun the unit that is about to do the counter control. So looking really good for Abdi at the moment.
Really good. This AoE is going to give the Diana attack bar as well, so shields will be coming out, protecting Abdi's team further. Violent proc now on the horse as well. Not getting the stun this time, as the Lamila is also built on 100 res in this mode. Going for the AoE now, does get the full team provoke, and the Violent proc on Vinny's side with the Soul Vark now looking to apply even more control.
Unfortunately for Vinny, this Diana was exactly what he's scared of. This shield is taking a lot of damage away from Vinny, and another stun coming out, and somehow there's another provoke coming out on top of that as well.
Has a very crucial stun on that top of that Lamila, as now Abs' team will be able to move out of the branding here, and that's a lot of damage that you mitigate from this Lamy skill 2, if the Lamy ever even gets his skill 2, as now the Dyna is actually getting cleansed. The stun, the 1 in 4 debuff, gets cleansed by the gaps right there. Dyna is now able to transform, and this skill 2 will definitely take out the Lamila.
Abs, the RNG is so good that even his teammate is not believing in what he's seeing in turn on his team right now. Unbelievable performance coming out from the Water Gojo, the MVP of the day once again. Another stun coming out from this Water Gojo. These Dragon Warrior are just not doing it for Vinny.
Yeah, there's no way these Dragon Warriors are doing it. Once again, they don't have all the additional damage that is required, and what this Gojo has is the additional damage paired with the violent procs. Even with these stuns, the Diana getting another violent proc as well. Abs is really setting the tone for his team right here. All of those procs and taking the game 1.
Oh my god. That Water Gojo looking lore accurate, Sean. That was, that was a crazy series of plays. That was wild. Congratulations to Abs. Man, Topa, he said that he wanted procs and RNG, and you know what? He got a little bit of that in there too.
Yeah, he definitely did, but that was also very well drafted by Apps. I mean, he almost won the game in turn 1, right? Like, Apps, I guess, did more homework than I did, right? I was unsure if the pole would outspeed. I thought it would, but Apps was sure that it would. And that pole did outspeed, take out the Maxi turn 1, and, I mean, the game was arguably over after that turn 1.
I think it was. I think it was. Abs did such a good job with that, setting up the pole so that it could snipe out a unit right at the beginning. That was so cool, Sean, because we haven't really seen a lot of snipe comps emerge in the summit so far.
And that is why we don't get to see the Water Ganda in the field, which means more aggressive team showed up and damaged straight into a unit. And snipe is a very valid strategy in summon as well still for RTA, because the moment you turn the game into a 3v4 in a 4v4 match, you are way ahead of the enemy.
Oh my goodness, and quick like it. Look at that. True Whale versus Rhino. We are already underway in the pick ban phase. Take it away, guys.
And once again, it is Team GLHF being penalized by that Water Gandalf pre-ban. Truewill has in his box, obviously does not have the option of playing that monster. So he goes for that Water Burner, which has been very, very strong throughout today's day. And somehow we're switching drafts, as now it is Rhino picking up the Double Dragon Warriors.
Oh, and there is the anti-AoE Fire Megumi. We have the Diana. We have the Fire Paw. Truewill literally has every answer to Rhino's draft. How the enemy did last time around.
Yeah, we're literally just switching drafts here. Rhino also is the one that now has the Hey Gang available. There's no LDs in this battle, so won't have the Maximilian. But Truewill going for that Shiho as well. Rhino could be looking to pick up maybe the Hey Gang here to counter these constant buffer moves paired with some sort of a buffer himself. Maybe a Shizuka here.
I think the problem with the Double Dragon Warrior in challenge mode is that you either don't have the follow-up or you don't have the Yasha. So you're kind of lacking the things that make this combo really, really strong. And Rhino's going in with the Shizuka to deal with the Shiho and the Wind Zenitsu to provide the damage against the Water Gojo. But oh my god, Dinah showing up, and the Wind Twin Angel finally getting picked up after being pre-banned in the first matchup and not being utilized in the second matchup. But finally, we are seeing the Wind Twin Angel in this time.
Yeah, Wind Twin Angel is pretty solid. It obviously does give that immunity to Truewill's team. Also has buff remove, speed buff. There's a lot of Wind Twin Angel's kit, so it can be a very strong monster. Also, is built on Despair in this mode, so it can get those random stuns. And now Rhino going for a Chao, almost Hail Mary solo here. I'm not sure how well this Chao is going to do into a Werner and a Shiho. It does ignore those damage reduction effects, the defense buff as well as the invisibility, but you're probably banning out the Dyna, and those water monsters can still do a lot of damage to you.
All right, here we go, guys. Truewill against Rhino. Can Truewill bring us back for the team? And the ban shall be locked in any second now. It will be the Diana and the Shizuka. Rhino is left with not a whole lot of sustain. The Chao only heal himself, so Truewill damage gonna be very effective here.
Now Rhino does get a speed lead advantage here. Obviously Shiho will be taking turn one, can likely stun out the Solvark here, just kind of disrupting the follow-up from Rhino's team, as there wouldn't really be any follow-up for the Wintercon. Goes for the stun, does connect the stun, and now the Eretion moves next here, but can't really do a whole lot.
He can do some damage, but that's gonna trigger the Megumi. Did get a despair stun onto the Water Gojo. Megumi can go for the stun or can attempt the attack down onto the fire, the Wind Zenitsu. He did not get any debuff, and here comes the AoE stun.
The AoE stun is targeting towards the Shiho. Does get the stun on the Shiho only. Obviously that Megumi did steal those Will Runes, so protected fully there. Now the Twin Angels going for the speed buff as opposed to the immunity, which is very well played by Truewill here, knowing that with the speed buff he's actually going to lap the team of Rhino, so can still put up that immunity later.
Oh, looking really good. We got the stun coming out. We got the Gojo doing the damage. There is a couple different ways he can deal with the Chao in the end game, because there are some attack bar reducing mechanic in Truewill's team. So even though Chao might be a very strong last pick, it still can be dealt with.
Definitely can. Chao needs to get a couple of violent procs, needs to start downing these units. Skill 1 from Chao is definitely not going to be taking out the Shiho right now, so he wouldn't need a violent proc to take that unit out, and he needs, because Shiho is getting back into skills very, very soon, and there's a lot of addition damage sitting on top of the Shiho.
Oh, Shiho is still on the field, but no longer after this Wind Zenitsu taking down the Shiho. But that's going to be a trade that Rhino has to make, because his team are looking low on HP as well.
It is, but the Wind Zenitsu does have that passive. Resisting the pushback there is also quite huge. The Zenitsu does have a passive where it gets healed 40% and also getting attack buff the moment that it would be dying. This Werner is likely going to trigger that here with the defense buff skill. No, it's 1 HP still on that Zenitsu, so passive still intact. But the Chao is also looking kind of low. No defense break lands either.
Oh, and that passive is going to be pop, low attack buff position, so there's no follow-up. And Chao is getting that very important procs right there, but the defense buff really nerfed the Chao skill 1 damage, because the skill 1 does not ignore damage reduction effect.
It doesn't, but the Werner is still very low. If this Werner drops before the Chao does, I believe Rhino's Chao will be taking this match. Burner is now going to be taking out the Zenitsu here, but the Chow is still looking quite lively, and actually Solvark is able to get in the skills. Going to be able to put up threats, they maybe take some pressure off of this Chow, but no, Ops go for his skill 2 instead. Doesn't want to give the Megumi a chance to steal that threat state so that he can just finish off this Burner.
All right, the Chow is looking stronger and stronger as we approach the end game, where the damage of True Whale is lacking at the moment. He's now left with 2 support characters, one being fire into a Chow. That might be one of the worst positions to be in because the slow and the stun might look good on paper, but the Chow is going to take that away with his passive.
Yeah, the Fire Megumi probably won't have enough, you know, he can proc all he wants, but even with all these procs, he's probably not going to be able to keep this Chow at bay. Just get the Violent proc to now push back that Ratio and stun it. Solvark not using those skills, really doesn't want to give threat state to True Whale's team here. So kind of a counter by the Megumi, but it doesn't matter as this Chow will definitely take this match.
I think this is where a draft out overpowered the violent procs that could happen, because it doesn't matter what kind of violent proc Fire Megumi can get at this point. I think Rhino can probably press the auto button and win this match.
He definitely can. There's nothing to stop this Chow at this point. And I mean, we still have both Dragon Warriors alive here as well, as Chow now takes a turn. Even a skill 1 will take it down. Rhino doesn't care. He just sends the Justice in. 29,000 damage, downing the Megumi, and Rhino taking game 2.
All roads lead to Chow, chat. That's Rhino's teaching us that lesson again. Sometimes a Chow is just the right answer.
Yeah, Chow is, you know, if he can deal with those counters, there were a lot of counters to Chow, to be fair. There were 3 of them to be exact. But Chow then again also does kind of counter 2 of his counters, right? Like, you want to counter Chow with damage. Obviously, debuffs don't really stick on that monster, so you need that damage from the Shiho, the Werner. But then Chow also just ignores your invisibility, ignores your defense buff, so he can deal with those monsters quite fast. And since there was no healing on True Whale's side, the Chow ultimately outlasted those monsters and took the W.
That's the toughest part about him, is it feels like you can't lock him down. You know, if you can't reach that critical mass of debuffs on top of him to like really get through the passive that cleanses too, then you're just gonna get outpaced. And that was a tough one. Rhino showing dominance at the end through that Justice as well, takes out True Whale in this best of 1 at match 2 in GLHF versus Banana Boys. Now we're looking forward to Jeff Bulladell versus Jeremo. So yeah, Sean, I'm telling you, dude, all roads lead to Chow.
Indeed. I think Chow's like the king of gaslighting. He makes you think that, oh, I can deal with him, and then you don't, and then you die. It's crazy.
Exactly. I think it was Seishizo that said Chow's like the best in the pick ban phase, you know, most of the time. Turns out, specifically in challenge mode, he is also really great in the game as well. Okay, so now GLHF is probably looking at how to cut their losses at this one. And again, because this is a team-based challenge mode competitive scene, these guys can take these learnings together. They can kind of reflect on this, talk about what's lacking, what isn't working. And Topa, if you had to give one piece of advice to them, or maybe a monster to look out for, what would you tell them?
Man, it's gonna be, I mean, so difficult, right? Because the monster box changes every single time, right? So you really gotta be able to just be fluid, be adaptive, and, you know, just adapt the draft, adapt with what you have at hand. And I mean, we saw how well Apps did that in the game 1, right? Maybe, you know, True Whale could have taken a page out of Apps' book right there, going for that fire pole, trying to get that outspeed and, you know, snipe a monster. But yeah, it really just depends on what you're given.
Exactly. Yeah, it's luck of the draw in what 14 monsters you get. And that's why we say improv and, you know, quick thinking is really on show here for challenge mode. And that's the fun part. All else equal, how can you handle a changing situation in the pick ban phase? And it's tough out there too. And we saw a really good combo in there, Sean. We saw Erechion and Solvark joining up, which was really fun. They've been dominant in RTA, in regular RTA ladder as well.
Definitely, but they also provide so much value in just 2 monsters, and giving something a 33% speed lead for Arena just completely make it so viable. And he kind of make Oliver disappear in RTA as well, because people are just trying to go for that character instead of going for Oliver.
Yeah, the multiple AoEs, the strip options. He's a great starter for that reason. He's everything. Yeah, giving somebody a 33 lead is a really good way to accelerate their play rate, their pick rate, and also inadvertently their ban rate too. Guys, Jeff Boladão versus Jermo. We're getting into it right now. Let's see which of these players can take home a point for their team in this best of one. Again, I want to remind everybody that Water Gandalf is just as banned as he was before. These players still don't have access to him, even if he looks all tantalizing in their box, because they both agreed to ban him. They both used their Angelmon to ban the same character, which is so funny. And it's given us a lot of volatility in the pick ban phases, which is what I'm personally super happy about, Topa.
Yeah, we've seen a lot faster games, that's for sure. We've been seeing a lot of damage being drafted, and it didn't work out well. I mean, even in the Vinny Apps matchup, right? Apps had a lot of damage himself, right? He had that snipe comp, so damage has really been the name of the game, and who kind of can get the jump on that damage.
Yeah, it gives the opportunity for big explosive plays. It makes snipe comps even easier to get going as well, and it makes people less dependent on some of those secondary and tertiary monsters like Angela, the wind pudding princess, going in here. All right, everybody, here we go. Jeff versus Jermo. Take it away, Topa and Sean.
All right, we got a Dark Aragon on Jeff Boladão, and we have the Water Gojo getting first pick once again. And immediately for the other team, it is going to be the double Dragon Warrior. But there's no Dino on the side of Jeff Boladão. He's locking drafts so fast, he exactly knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he has 14 monsters, but all he needs is 5 because he knows exactly what he wants to draft here. And so far, we've seen an exact replica of that game too just now, where Team GLHF opens with the Werner and Banana Boys responds with the double Dragon Warrior. And this time, finally, it is Banana Boys who is being punished by that Gandalf Angemon ban, and Gandalf is not available for them. But Dermo going for this AoE playstyle, just fully committing once again, even though he has Hey Gang, Chiwu, as well as the Triton there, opts to go for the Hey Gang as his strip of choice.
Oh, and over there we've got a Shizuka getting picked up here to steal all that AoE juiciness coming out from Dermo. And the last pick is going to be the Fire Paw that could easily outspeed your entire team, even with 33% speed lead.
Yeah, we see Jeff Boladão was definitely taking notes from App's game, or even prior to that, knowing that Paul will be taking the turn 1. But Dermo knows that as well, so he probably might be banning out the Paul here, as we see what he runs as drafter. Probably just going for, I mean, he could honestly go Chow. Yeah, I was going to say Chow looks pretty good when there's no wind monsters on the side of Jeff Boladão.
All road lead to Chow indeed. Chow last pick looking really strong. I think that might have to be the ban. So the ban could probably go to the Chow and the Fire Paw. But that means Dermo has to deal with this Megumi and a Shizuka while having 0 increased cooldown time for the Shizuka. So if he missed just a little bit of his control, then he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Oh, hold up.
We see completely different bans here instead. It is the Werner being banned out. There might actually, you know what, I don't actually hate this. There's no squishy monsters on Dermo's side. He can definitely withstand the snipe here. The Paul is not going to do enough damage to kill anything here. And there's not that much follow-up. He can reset 1 monster here, or I suppose 2 since the Chow is off will. We'll see what the Megami goes for. Goes for the AoE Stripper. So Jeff is going to be protected here for a little bit. So now he can reset that Erection. And actually just opts to go for the skill 2 for damage, knowing that the Erection is built on Despair and will therefore not be moving out of this stun here.
Good play right there. He's saving that skill 3 for when the entire enemy team is exposed so that he can put AoE slow debuff on them, which is more effective than just putting it on the Chow and the already stunned Wind Dragon Warrior. So right now, both AoE units on the side of Dermo can take their turn, but it doesn't really mean they're going to do anything.
Yeah, they're not going to do a whole lot in the Shizuka protection here, so very well still, you know, just getting that Fire Pole right there. It means that you can still get the turn 1 and enable your team. He had just enough buff remove with that Megumi. Just that one is all he needed. All he needed was lock down the AoE buff remover from Dermo's side. And now all these AoEs, they are doing damage, and there are no heals on the side of Jeff Boladão. So that is still important, because there is a Chow that might take the late game against this no healing comp.
Oh, we got a huge stun onto the water unit as well. Looking really good for Jeff Buller now. He's controlling the flow of the match. He's taking down all the Dragon Warrior usefulness. And here comes that devastating skill 3 from the Dark Aragon.
Shizuka also getting a nice violent proc, lowering those cooldowns, getting back into those skills sooner as this Aragorn now looking to get that 3-turn reset on everybody. And the slows are landing as well. That is going to be slowing down this Chow. And now with the violent proc of Megami as well, he can look to push back and control even more monsters.
I mean, that skill 3 is just like Shang Peng Pro Max right there. 3 turn is extremely long, and you also have a slow debuff on top of some of these units having like almost no attack power, which means they're gonna be down there without their skill for such a long period of time, except for maybe Chow. Maybe Chow can do this.
Yeah, this is really all eyes are on Chow right now. I mean, it's gonna be difficult. There's again not a whole lot of damage against Chow. If the Paul glances, Paul could just not glance his skill 3, and that then all of a sudden is going to be a lot of damage on the Chow, as well as all this cooldown reduction coming on top of this Dark Aragorn. It's going to be very nice to get those skills back online as fast as possible.
All right, we're in crunch zone here. Chow is going to take away the Fire Megami, but next turn, the skill 3 from Aragon is coming back, which means he's going to get that slow in the attack bar reset on the Chow. No death break. Oh, there is the death break! And there's another rain of debuff on this Chow. Remember, Chow cleanse only a couple debuff, not all of them, which means this could be the end of this unit.
Will this glance? This is important right here. It does glance. Okay, so it does not get the extra damage right there. The Paul, once again, oh my goodness, but the Aragorn with the buff, the initial damage, there's almost going to one-shot the Chow with the attack buff on top of it and just zero the attack bar, and that is going to be game over. With the attack buff and the defense break, it is so much damage that Chow is nowhere near able to withstand all of that heat.
And once again, it proved the words of the great sage Seychelles. Chow is only really good in the drafting phase, but when he make it to the match, it's not looking so hard anymore.
Yeah, Dark Aragorn was there just truly showcased, you know, the brutal power of Dark Aragorn right there. Just so much, and ultimately got Jeff the win right there.
So oppressive when it gets an AoE hit like that. Man, I am a huge fan of the way that Jeff played that. Topa, specifically the opener. I love the way he opened the game, and he also didn't panic in the pick ban phase either. You know, he had a plan going in. Take out a Region, take out Chow, win the game.
Right, exactly. That opener from the pole was so clean still. That's why I still wouldn't like to see the ban on that pole. Just, you know, deny that. You have the 33% speed advantage. So you would have outsped Jeff Balladow's team there had he not had that fire pole to, you know, boost that attack bar and therefore connect the entire team and kind of just, you know, shut down your one means of opening Jeff Balladow's team.
Yeah, and Sean, he did it all while snacking.
Yeah, like he finished the enemy faster than he finished his snacks. That's crazy. Or just casually did it in his meal.
He did. He made it look so casual, but he was making incredibly good and thought out decisions in there. Jeff is such a good player, man. It blows my mind every time to watch him. And honestly, Topa, I'm just glad that we got to see another snipe.
Oh yeah, that was great. And I'm even more glad to see we got to see the Dark Aragorn, right? That's such a strong and cool monster. I mean, obviously it's a new monster too with this collaboration. And it's so great to see that skill 3 animation is peak as well. You know,
super well done.
Good.
Oh my goodness, guys, look at this. We're going into our last game, our last matchup of the day here. Dark Garchomp versus Zexy here between Banana Boys, and good luck, have fun. Let's get into it, Topa and Sean B.
All right, guys. First pick for Dark Garchomp, and he has the Dark Aragon to first pick, and he is going to lock in the Dark Aragon for Dark Garchomp.
I don't hate that, and we see the Water Gandalf is on Zek's side, so actually the Water Gandalf went pretty even, right? 2 games it was on a GLH of his side, and 2 games it's now on Banana Boy's side, and so far, whoever has had the Water Gandalf in their box, obviously unable to use it due to the Angemon, has lost the game. So we'll see if that trend continues here, or can Zex break the curses. Once again, we have seen every single game, the first 2 picks on the second pick player side has been the Double Dracon Warrior.
But whether the Double Dracon Warrior can actually perform is another question. And we also have that Fire Paw doing exceptionally well in these matches, outspeeding, taking the initiation, and winning the match.
Yeah, that's been very crucial here. We'll see if Dark Archon is going to leverage that fire pole here, as he does have that available. Would like to see, he does already have some buff removers. Ooh, going just for full-on AoE. If the Chibu is banned out, you are getting outsped here, but you do have the Heigang to kind of make up for that. This is a very strong draft coming out of Dark Archon here.
Yep, we have 2 strip, we have 3 AoE. Both stripper come with glancing debuff to soft counter the AoE the triple revenge vert. So Zaxy's gonna go in with the Shiho to potentially counter the Chiwu if he managed to go turn 1. And I'm pretty sure he is gonna get turn 1 because all the Swift unit in challenge mode are extremely fast as well. So I think it is going to be a Shiho ban into potentially a Heigang ban.
Yeah, I think those are the exact bans that have to happen here, because Heigang is kind of just going to deny your chance of opening, right? You need to kind of get lucky here. No, it's going to be a Dark Argor ban. So Zex is kind of trying to weather the storm here, only letting 2 of the damage dealers through, just letting Dark Archon having both the AoE buff removers. If he can weather the storm here, there are no resets, so one little proc from Shizuka might turn the battle on its head.
Exactly, and the storm is getting smaller and smaller with Chiwu missing 1 strip right there, but the Heigang is moving right after. Can he actually take off the Shizuka, and can the follow-up move to intercept? But no, the Shizuka is going to cut in front of the enemy team, providing the immunity, and the storm just got completely destroyed by the Shizuka.
Yeah, that is probably game over at this point. You have threats there on everyone too, so you have to split your damage. You can't throw the AoEs, you know, just trying to get the damage in while there are not really any heals on Zex's side. But Zexy also has the control here. Like, he does have, you know, double Dracon Warriors here, and that is a lot of control, as we know and seen on the ladder.
And the thing about Threat State is it is also a soft damage reduction buff for his team. So by doing only AoE damage, Dark Archon is not taking off any of the Threat State yet, which means everyone there is still enjoying this sweet damage reduction.
And that they are, and now the Dracon Warriors are having a field day with this breathing fire all over Dark Archon's team, absorbing that attack bar, taking even more turns, just keeping a lockdown. The Shizuka's cooldown reduction as well. Another skill 3, another violent proc, another skill 2, more Dragon Fire rains down Dark Archon's team. And Zex is in full control here.
So much Dragon Warrior action right there. We are ending the night potentially with the Dragon Warrior just spitting fire on everybody. And there is a window that just opened for Dark Archon to start doing some more damage. But can he utilize this? Can this actually do enough damage? Here we go. And it barely scratched anything. Looking really good for Zex right there. There's nothing can go wrong for him at this point.
Yeah, we see the threat state damage reduction as well as all of those minus water artifacts come into play. The Lamila really did 7,000 damage on the Vert. Like, that is just abysmal damage, especially in challenge mode when all these monsters have at least like 35,000 hit points. It's not even 20% of Vertihal's health there. It does get a nice low stun on Vertihal, but Shizuka has skill 3 available next turn, and with everything being silenced, Zexit will take this last game.
Oh my god, these Dragon Warrior just keep spitting. Like, I've seen that skill 2 from both of them so many times in this one match at this point. There's nothing that Dark Archon can do. And that's GG. Zax will take game 4.
Zax showing the power of potassium for the Banana Boys. Look at that, dude. He's stoked. Topa, his expressions during the game were so funny. He seemed like that went... His reactions tell me that went even better than he was expecting it to.
Probably, yeah. He got that. He had like kind of maybe some. Again, maybe this could be homework, right? Because the speeds are known, or maybe that was just pure luck there. That Shizuka cut right in between perfectly. And Zek was kind of like, okay, I guess that's game then. I guess I just win. Like, I got the Shizuka turn right in between. I get my immunity up. I guess I just win for free. And that's really what it seemed like there.
It was so cool. Like, you know, Sean, just before the game started, right? We were just talking about like the Dragon Warrior combo, and then we got to see that again, plus Shizuka, which is insane.
Indeed, and Shizuka can reduce the cooldown on a Dragon Warrior, and also Zax went in with the skill 2 cycle skill 3 combination instead of skill 3 into skill 2, because when you skill 2, you almost get a full turn into the skill 3, and if you proc right after that, you potentially have so much lower cooldown in this combination that they can just keep reducing the cooldown and heal blocking and doing a lot of damage in your team.
Exactly. And this is how this matchup ended, guys. 3-1 in favor of the Banana Boys. So 3 more points on the board for them. And good luck, have fun walking away with just 1 point. Admittedly, it was a great point. Jeff Boladell made it look easy. Yeah, did it all while snacking. Had a great time doing it. That was a really fun game. Here is our updated leaderboard, everybody. Skills over Bills is still tied for first next to Chaos. Banana Boys has accelerated into that 3rd position with 7 total points, 3 of which were gathered today. GLHF in 4th, but still qualifying for the finals at this point with 5 total points. Now it's on Barceros and Skitsons to really show up in these coming days because we have more round-robin tournaments for the Americas Summit to look forward to. And I'll remind you guys again about this going forward as well, but next week we're going to have a bye week because it's the Legend Tournament. So we're not having an Americas Summit next Friday because that is the same day as the close of the RTA Season 36 Legend Tournament. However, we'll be back for the 3rd week of the round robin segment of America's Summit on April 3rd. So you can remember that. April 3rd is the 3rd round robin set. And chat, I'm so happy to report we have another code for you too. 2 mystical scrolls and also some well wishes. Look at that. They're sending some good luck your way. LDNet5 in our future. That's the code. So it's almost like we're doing a self-affirmation, Sean, when we type in that code.
It's kind of funny that they gave 2 mystical scrolls, so there's no LD5 in that future in particular.
No LD5 in that one, but maybe, you know what?
But also, it's very fitting that skill over Bills is the top team in a tournament where it's literally skill over Bill.
Yes, dude. Exactly. It's all challenge mode. It's all up here and improv. It's all improv and how you play the hand you're dealt. That's what we love about challenge mode. It was really fun to watch this. Topa, I really liked it with the addition of the Angelmon.
Oh yeah, the Indonesia was definitely a fun addition, you know. It's a bit unfortunate that we saw that one disqualification happen there, but at least we didn't have any more of that issue. So I'm super excited to see what future weeks of this round robin are bringing. You know, maybe we had different color Angemon, maybe we have a, you know, red or yellow or black or white, or maybe even rainbow Angemon. I don't know. Maybe we have all sorts of weird new things, and I'm super excited to see what the future holds.
Exactly. Who knows, Sean? I had fun, dude.
Yeah, I have fun, a lot of fun too, and I can't wait to see what's gonna happen in the next couple rounds.
Me too. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out and watching the summit with us today. Look forward to more exciting games in the summit again on April 3rd, because next week Friday, that's the Legend Tournament for RTA Season 36. Either way, we'll see you back here. Have a great night and an awesome weekend. Bye, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Bye.